Did you want me to pull up a chair? Do you want to sit up here?
It is up to you. Where would you like me? Wherever you would like me. That's not blocking your camera. Okay. So I thought what I would do tonight, and by the way, feel free just to ask questions as I go along. You don't need to wait until the end. I'm not that formal. But I thought what I'd do tonight, I prepared this presentation. I'm going to do the presentation first, which starts with the Stickney-Forest View Library, the navy blue with the copper 1834. I thought it would probably make some sense just to rewind the tape just a little bit. One, because I haven't been here in person, I think now for 3 years, and we've had virtual meetings, but it's always good to rewind the tape. And since we started the relationship with Stickney-Forest Library, we've had a merger with Old National Bank. So I thought it would be good just to kind of rewind the tape and then see if you had any questions about that. I know you all know who I am, but never hurts to remind you. I'm Lori Kazich. I am a wealth advisor. I've been doing this for over 30 years. I was with Northern Trust for 28.5 years, and now with Old National Bank, which merged with First Midwest for the last 7 years. So I've been doing this a long time, not my first rodeo. So my undergrad is in accounting, I'm a CPA. I got my MBA from the University of Chicago in finance. I do specialize in public fund entities. That's probably about 2/3 or more of my book. So I have a lot of libraries, villages of, cities of, park districts, you name it, counties, you name it. So it is a specialized area for me. So I'm very familiar with, for example, ILCS 235, which is the Illinois Investment Public Funds Act. So again, very familiar with all those things. And feel free to ask me questions or what are other public entities doing. But I also thought that I would talk a little bit about 1834, which is our new brand name for wealth management, and a little bit about Old National Bank. It is, the footprint is a little bit different than First Midwest. So in terms of 1834, it's a brand name for wealth management at Old National, and we really thought it was, it's formed on the premise of building a stable, enduring wealth management and investment advisory relationship with institutions as well as individuals. The name 1834 came from when Old National was founded back in 1834. So we're with an organization that's been around a long time. Thus the name Old. I'm sure you've heard the commercials. No one likes them. I want to get old. I don't know anybody who says that. Even I don't say that. But it's all about the fact that we've been around since 1834. Excuse me. So then I'm jumping to page 2, and the slide is about Old National. So again, I already talked about the fact that we were founded in 1834. We merged, and the merger closed in February 2020. We did the banking conversion in July of 2022, and we did the wealth management conversion on August 13th. So the August date that I brought is a little bit different, new and different. All the same numbers, but new and different. So in terms of a bank, Old National Bank, we have $45 billion worth of assets, and in wealth management, we have $30+ billion worth of assets under management. So we had at First Midwest, we had about 14 million, so we're double. Basically putting us together, double us, both on the bank balance sheet side, deposits, as well as in wealth management. So our approach to client service is actually exactly the same as it was before within wealth management, meaning that I customize the portfolio to the library. I don't bring out something and just try to sell you product. Obviously, service is important, so I try to communicate. If Joanne or Lighton reaches out to me, I try to respond immediately. I try to, again, I offered to come here. I said, I really think it's probably time for me to come to a board meeting, and you all should feel free to reach out to me at any point in time. So I'm all about proactive client servicing and offering comprehensive services. As a public entity or a little limited, you can't take advantage of some of the other things that we would do for individuals. But On the institutional side, we offer institutional services, investment management, which is what we do for you guys. We do have corporate trust services. We have philanthropic and endowment service, and we have retirement plan services as well. So we do that, again, depending on who the institution is. And then I'm jumping to the next slide. In terms of investment management, I get asked this all the time, is, well, what's going to change for our portfolio? Absolutely nothing. So on your new statement, you saw a new name. You saw that you have a portfolio manager, Don Powell. Actually, I brought him with me when I joined First Midwest from Northern.
I have a question. On your slide in here about Old National.
Yes.
I noticed you're all here right around Lake Michigan here.
Yeah, so we have a big Midwest footprint. That's the reason we used to be called First Midwest. But we have a big Midwest footprint. So obviously we're in Illinois, Indiana. We do go down into Kentucky. We are in Wisconsin. We are in Michigan. We go out to the Quad Cities. And then we're up in Minnesota, and we just opened an office in Scottsdale.
Now, what is the difference between the big dots and the little dots?
Yeah, so one is where it's a banking center, and the other one is where it's a commercial banking center. That just means that is it individuals, consumers who walk in and just need to use the tellers and personal bankers, or is it one of our offices where a business or an institution can walk in and we'll be able to handle them from a commercial lending standpoint. So if you guys needed a loan, for example, you want to go to one of our branches that has consumer lenders or commercial lenders there. Yeah. Good question. But it's a much bigger footprint. By the way, people in Kentucky don't consider themselves from the Midwest. That's the reason we didn't keep the name First Midwest, because they don't. Nor do people in Arizona. As we're finding. So that's why we went with Old National. People seem to be okay with that. All right.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, absolutely. You're perfectly fine. So I am on slide 7, which is on page 3 for you all. Getting back to investment management, so we do comprehensive investment management services, and obviously we have a team of professionals. So there's Don, as I mentioned, who's on the statement. He actually does the trading. He's our portfolio manager, which is a good thing. You don't want me doing soup to nuts, right? You want me focusing on servicing you, being your, I call it quarterback, so to speak, your football fan, your relationship manager. You come to me, I navigate our organization into what it is that's needed for the library. But just know behind me, there's a lot of expertise. So we have institutional asset management, we have portfolio managers, we have research analysts, they monitor the portfolios. If we were to buy funds, for example, they would monitor them. We do a lot of risk management. We have people who are totally devoted to legal compliance, risk management, making sure that everything is tied up with a bow. Because we're now a big organization. We have the OCC, the SEC, FINRA, we have the banking regulators, and of course the FAC. So we actually now have an office dedicated to where those people can come in and actually have a space to work. That's how many auditors we have running around. And then again, we have, of course, equity investing, we have self-directed accounts and mutual fund asset allocation. The reality is that you can't use it as a public entity, but we have that for our other clients. The next slide talks about the advantages of U.S. Treasuries, because when we first started investing for Stickney-Forest Library, we talked about ILCS 235, which again, that's the Illinois Public Funds Investment Act. You have to comply with that as a public entity inside of Illinois. The good news about U.S. Treasuries is that they're backed by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government. They're considered the safest investment. Obviously, they're marketable and liquid. They trade every day. So if you called me and said we need to have $200,000 by Monday, we would go ahead and sell one of them. They're marketable. They trade every day. The stated coupon and interest rate is typically higher than what you can get on bank accounts or CDs. We typically hold them to maturity so that you're guaranteed the maturity proceeds. and then in the meantime, you're getting paid the interest income every 6 months. Yeah, and we ladder the maturities. We talk with you anytime we got a maturity coming up, how long you need this money, when you think you're gonna need to use it, that sort of thing. We ladder the maturities to meet the cash flow, the spend schedule, so to speak, of the library. So again, really critical. We can, according to the Illinois Public Funds Investment Act, we could go into corporate bonds, we can go into municipal bonds as well. But I think when we first met, because we were putting our toe in the water for the first time as the library, instead of doing CDs or money market bank accounts, we went with U.S. Treasuries because everybody was comfortable with that. But just know that at some point in time, if you wanted to get into corporate bonds or municipal bonds, for example, the yields are a little bit higher on corporate bonds than Treasury bonds, but I will tell you, they also bring risk, right? We go, according to ILCS 235, we can only go AAA and above, so it's single A, double A, and triple A. We have to stay within that range. However, I know some of you may shop there. Kohl's, they started out there, they were a triple A, and now they've been downgraded. They were downgraded 2 days ago. They were downgraded to a double B plus.
Is it a corporate bond?
No.
What's this corporate fund?
That's a corporate fund, that's where, that's one of the main, that's not just a special reserve.
I'm sorry, what rating are we right now?
Oh, so I'm talking about the investments inside of the portfolio. So all government vehicles, 3 U.S. Treasuries, they are all triple A. Yeah, they're the highest rated because it's the government. They're backed by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government. Yeah. Unlike again, corporate bond, you're exposed to the financial balance sheet and the income statement and the rating of the actual company that underlies that bond. So, but we don't have any.
And even some of the municipal bonds are not.
Exactly. Because there's some municipalities, for example, right now, I know you guys are living and breathing all this stuff, but Cook County, they can do their real estate property tax collection on September 1st, like they typically would. So we have some public entities that are saying, oh boy, we may be in trouble. Thus, you need to get, municipal bond downgraded, for example. So we're very careful on municipal bonds, and we really do our research and make sure that.
That's why we're in the treasuries, is because that's.
Yep, it's the safest. It really is. It's the safest place to be. I would say that unless you started just getting, let's just say somebody, leaves you $1 million. Well, then that's a different conversation, right? Somebody leaves you $1 million and you don't really have plans for it. That's a different conversation. You might be able to go a little bit out further and yield
I
curve.
think we would be on an island somewhere. At least we have you on the beach.
Good for you. That's good. I did want to take a little time to talk about, so we talked about what's in the portfolio, what we do, but I did want to take next slide. I did want to take a minute and talk about the current interest rate environment, because I did look at the presentation I prepared in 2020 and 2021. We're in a very different interest rate environment, right? All of a sudden, automatically. So I'll rewind the tape to back March of 2020, the Fed reduced the Fed funds rate down to near zero due to the pandemic. That was unforeseen and unexpected by anyone. And I will tell you that that was the most 2 painful years for my public fund clients, because you got to go out 5, 6, 7, even 10 years to get anything near 1%. So that's why we have some things that mature later, because you might be saying now, wow, well, the Fed's increasing the Fed funds rate. So they started in March. They increased the Fed funds rate 0.25% in March, and then they did another 0.50 in May. This is this year, 2022. Another 0.75 in June, another 0.75 in July, and today, I put it on the slide just because I had to bring the slides on Monday, but we knew the Fed was going to increase the interest rates, the Fed funds rate another 0.75% today. So the Fed funds rate right now is floating about 3 to 3.25%. So you have a very valid question when you say, yeah, but our portfolio, right, the treasuries are earning a yield of 1.70 and the money market is making and one very early in 2022. Again, couldn't have anticipated that the Fed was just going to kind of boom, just like they did back in the pandemic. So the strategy right now is, and the other thing too to remember is, this is like economics 101 or finance 101 back in the days. So when the Fed increases the Fed funds rate, the price and market value of existing bonds goes down. So it looks like the value of the bonds in your portfolio are down. Well, that's because you could go out today and get more on an interest rate yield curve. You're going to pay more, but the value of your existing bonds goes down. However, again, remember the strategy is we hold those to maturity, and then at maturity we make sure that you don't need those for operating funds, and then we would reinvest those, and we just go for U.S. Treasuries and we get the absolute best deal we possibly can. So that's a very simple strategy. Try to get fancier from us.
Now, when you say the value is going down, that would be for somebody who is, if we hold it to maturity, we have not lost
You have
any.
not lost anything. And
We
those
have
are,
gotten the best interest, but we have
we
not
have not
lost.
lost anything. Correct. And you're still collecting, every 6 months, you're still collecting the interest rate. But there's a column on these reports that's always really important to note is unrealized. It's an unrealized gain or an unrealized loss. It's just simply that I want to tell you, here's what the current market value of the portfolio is versus, here's what we bought it at versus here's what its price is today. And again, I would say keep in mind the most important column I always tell my public fund clients is the most important thing is to look at units, because that's exactly what you're going to get back. If we got 150,000, we're going to get 150,000 back. We probably didn't pay 150,000 when we bought it, but we're going to get back 150,000 when it matures. Okay, I'm going to jump to the next slide. Again, this really is, it's in the standard package, but again, why would you stay with us? Obviously, we're a trusted partner, and we have a broad investment platform. So the library did decide, again, to do something a little bit different with the portfolio. We clearly have all the bells and whistles.
And if I may, for your members of the board, we are in an awkward position. We are too big for small business loans, and we're too small for the big corporate loans. So we're caught between a rock and a hard place. And Old Midwest is one of the, excuse me,
That's okay.
Old National.
I found myself in the other day.
Did you say all the Midwest?
Is one of the few banks that works with mortgage.
Yeah.
So we have explored, in the past, we have explored other banks, but like I said, we're too big for one, too small for the other, and
Yeah,
you have taken care of us beautifully over the years.
Thank you. That's, I will tell you though, you're right in our, what I'll call our sweet spot, the library, so, yeah. Okay, and I'm gonna jump to, any questions on that? I know I went through that kind of quick, but I'm always sensitive with people's time.
Did you want to hear through those last couple slides, or just skip them?
No, those are just disclosures, and a pretty picture. They did all this new marketing material, I said, I wonder how much this costs, because I'd like to do my assistant a raise. She really does all the work. Anyways, so I'm gonna jump to, this is the statement that Joanne gave to everyone. The top page says Stickney-Forest view. It's for the period of August 1st through August 31st. And then when I jump to, page 1 of 8, it says, beginning market value. Again, this is the market value, meaning, the prices of August 31st plus the earnings minus disbursements. And then there's that key number that we just talked about, the unrealized gain or loss. You don't really need to worry much about that number, and you don't really need to worry much about the ending market value. What's really more important, and I'll jump to the next page, is kind of the summary. So the earnings summary is, year to date, as of the end of August, this portfolio has earned $6,250.17. It's not too shabby, because keep in mind that up until March, we were in a 0% interest rate environment, so that's pretty good. Again, the fees, we've tried These are tax dollars, we wanna make sure that we maximize the use of those tax dollars. And then there's the realized gains and losses and then the unrealized gains and losses. So again, I wouldn't get too excited about that, because as you pointed out earlier, it's unrealized. So the next page, just talks about what are we holding inside of the portfolio. We already talked about that. We're holding U.S. governments, 100% of the portfolio, and we see we have one of the bonds is 0 to 5 years, and then 2 of them is 1 to 5 years. And then the next page, page 4 of 8, the cash and cash equivalents. We have an Old National Bank money market fund. Again, it's approved by ILCS 235 that I was talking about earlier. The current yield as of August 31st was 2.10. I suspect that's likely to go up a little bit. This is unique. This is probably the first time since March of 2020 that we actually see an interest rate that's actually decent on money market fund. It probably after today's Fed funds increase rate, that'll probably go up a little bit. It won't go up to full 0.75, but it might be around 2.5. Let's hope within the next couple weeks. And then you'll see down at the very bottom starts the very first fixed income holding. So it's the U.S. Treasury, 150,000. That's that first column shares. That's what you need to focus on, because that's what we're going to get come August 31st of 2024. We're guaranteed to get 150,000. Even if the market prices it at $143,679 today, doesn't really matter. And then the second to last column, $1,875. That's what we're collecting every year in terms of income. And then the next
So that stuff that we are collecting, is it getting reinvested?
Well, for right now, normally when we would get income in, we would add those up and then go buy another block of U.S. Treasuries while we were in a 0% interest rate environment. But right now, we're allowing any cash that we get in for interest and dividend payments, we're putting into that money market fund because it's paying a lot, 2.10%, probably going to be even more after today's mark. So that's what we've been doing. To answer your question, yes. But I mean, in the old world, when we couldn't get anything, the bank deposit was sitting at 0.01 forever. We would take it and reinvest it. We just go buy another block of U.S. Treasuries.
So I just need to understand this a little bit.
Sure.
So when we purchased this U.S. Treasury,
Right.
we purchased 150,000.
We purchased 150,000.
So it's guaranteed that we're gonna get
We're
back.
going to guarantee you're going to get back that 150,000.
Even though the current value is 143.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the market is pricing at today. 'Cause again,
But this is plus all that interest that we are making and going back to the money markets, that's actually different kind of investment that we have with that interest that we are earning every month.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Exactly. And the same thing would be true for on the top of page 5. There's 2 more treasuries. So we hold a total of 3 treasuries. So the next one is 160,000. And that one's paying $2,200 a year in income. And the next one matures next August of 2023. That's 125,000. And the annual projected income on that one is $1,718. So what we'll do is keep collecting the income, put it in the money market funds. But when that $125,000 matures in August 31st of 2023, the person will do is check to see if you need that for operating cash. But if not, let's hope and keep our fingers crossed that this 3 to 3.5%, maybe even 4%, that's projection by this time next year, that we can go out and get a treasury that'll be earning 4%. So I think it's like finally a good time to get public funds. I mean, in 2008, they pulled back on the Fed funds rate, and I think we sat for 11 years until 2019 with about a 1% Fed funds rate. And in 2019, they did 5 increases, and we had a pandemic and we're back to 0. So I mean, it's really been stinky because you're so limited. So anyways, when the 125,000 comes due, August of 2023, we'll just revisit it, and we'll see. Do we need it for cash flow? If not, we're gonna go out there and hopefully get something even better. So that's, again, as my grandma used to say, that little recruit jump, right, it's like about 4%. And then the next page is just purchases, and then sale activity. That's just, we moved from the Northern Trust Government Select Fund into the Old National Money Market Fund. And then it tells you, so that page 7 of 8 gives you the earnings activity, so you can see that these 3 bonds all had a 6-month income payment in August, so that's quite a nice month for us in terms of earnings. And then on the very last page, that's the monthly fee that we take out. So again, just want everybody to be familiar with what exactly are we holding today. We're going to hold it to maturity. What are we going to get, and then what are we going to do once it matures? Do you all have any questions?
Yes.
On that? Yes.
On your, and then, Midwest Trust Securities Corporate Fund, the about 442,000.
Oh, that must be on the banking side. Is that on the banking side?
It's not,
It's first Midwest Trust Securities.
that's the corporate fund, that's, where we have our, here's where we're talking about.
Okay, I'm talking about this one now. Okay, it's an expensive $4,020.14. I don't know why it's such a big expense.
I honestly, I'm gonna have to do some research.
Yeah, which,
It's on the banking account.
It's on the treasurer's
It's
report.
on the treasurer's report as of August 31st, 2022. It's 3 down, so there's a First Midwest Bank money market tax account, there's a library checking, and then there's bank and trust securities.
The corporate fund.
303, the corporate fund. Is that?
yeah, I believe that was just when reconciling, I think that's where,
See, that's the main reason, like when I'm looking at the reports, and like in June 30th of 2019, that's column for everything was 455,000, almost 456,000. So now it's 441.
Right.
So it
and
keeps
that's-
going down, keeps going down. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on with this thing?
Right, right, and again, keep in mind that that's because as interest rates are going up by the Fed, the value of the bonds that we hold in the portfolio are going down. However, we are not gonna sell those bonds, right? We're gonna hold them to maturity.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
But I just didn't
Yeah,
understand,
no,
are
it's
we,
great. Yeah.
So-
that's another thing that expenses everything, like, are we losing money on this? I mean, I understand that we're gonna get this 450,000 that we put in, we're gonna get it back for sure.
Right,
But it's nicer if you can get more, I mean, that money is in the bank anyway being invested.
right, right. But I would go back to page, if you look at the August statement anyways, I would go back to, page 2, right? Because this is a nice earnings summary, right? So it's saying year-to-date as of August 31st, this has earned $6,250, and year-to-date the fees have been $1,044.20, right? So net, you're still making $5,200 on the portfolio, and we're gonna hold it to maturity. So, right, so, you know, you add up,
Are you on your packet or the treasury report now?
I'm on my packet, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
But still, I was asking about the treasurer.
Right.
I'm
That's
still
what I think.
asking about this expense.
yeah, so that 4,020 and 14, when we're trying to reconcile the account, that's the 128.64 of the disbursement fee, plus the 38.91.50, those two negative numbers of the unrealized gain. That's how we've been trying to figure out that reconciliation now. Is that-
Oh, so you're putting that in an expense category, yeah. So what other public entities typically do, is they use an accrual or what's called an amortization. So what they do is they separate out our fee for wealth management, and then they separate out unrealized gains or losses, and they put that into an amortization schedule. Even to your point, it depends on how big or small you are. You know, you're lumping things together just so you can balance, right? So you
Exactly.
can balance.
Exactly.
However, yeah, most of the software, accounting software packages for public entities is you would separate out the fees and then you separate out the unrealized gain and loss buckets separately. Because again, it's important to know that number, however, we haven't realized any losses, so
Right.
really, it's good to know, you know, gosh, if we had to do a fire sale, you know, what might we get? However, we're not intending to do that, right? Because you know your cash flow needs, you know your spend schedule, you lever the portfolio to meet your spending schedule. So, yeah, I didn't realize that's what you know, okay, so that's.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the expenses in 2019, it says $500. Now we look like 4,000 suddenly. It's like, wait, what's going on? Why are expenses so high? So that's why I was asking Layton, I was like, okay, what's going on with this? That's why he called me to come at the meeting.
Gotcha, yeah, no, it's, I mean,
Because we don't see the whole statements in our report, we just see the report. We go by that.
Yeah, yeah. Your annual fee in total is usually about $1,400. So, because as of the end of August, it's $1,044. If you take 128 times, we only have 3 more months left, right? It's gonna be about $1,400 in total for the fee. And then you have to think about, you know, your earnings this year are gonna be higher, because we're gonna have a pretty earn more income by the end of the year, probably another couple thousand. So percentage wise, that's pretty small.
Now, if I'm
Yeah.
Now, Natasha, you were concerned about, you said the value going down was.
Yes, it's going down.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, now, if I'm correct here, let's see, on page 4, Pete? Okay. All right, we have $150,000. If we had to liquefy it today, we would only get the $143,000.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But since we put it in, we have been earning interest. So conceivably, we might be coming out even.
But not for those 2 years, we had 0 interest.
Oh,
But
no, no,
depending
no.
on,
Yeah.
you notice I said, and I'm trying to talk in general terms for you to understand the way it.
Oh, I understand now when she explained it, because, and I was looking at these fees that Sylvia was talking about too. So, like,
Yeah, so
what's going, you know, it doesn't make sense. So,
Are these 4 funds this conglomerate? Is that what you're telling me?
this is, sorry.
Yes,
I got it.
no.
Yeah, so it appears to me that, yeah, so, I get it now, you're taking that back to page 1 of 8, you're basically taking a plug and play of beginning market value plus the earnings, and then combining the fees along with the unrealized gain and loss to come back to the ending market value of the 441. However, our fee portion of that is the 128.64. Again, times 12 would be about $1,400 for the year. That unrealized gain and loss number, again, I don't think we really should, and my advice is, unless, you know, you come to me and said, oh my gosh, we're gonna get $150,000 next month, okay, then we'd be having a different conversation. But, yeah, we should not really be looking at the unrealized gains and losses, because the intention of this portfolio is to hold everything to maturity. So at maturity, the library is guaranteed to get back the original $435,000, plus you're gonna be earning, you know, $1,500 every year while we hold these. So no principal has been lost. As a matter of fact, you know, the portfolio is earning about 1.7%. So, and it's gonna earn even more because that money fund is continuing to go up. So, which is good news for the library finally. Rather than earning 0.01, 0.03. That was that way for a very long time. It was that's unrealized. So the other thing, in terms of just reconciling the numbers, the other thing that would be interesting is, so I do have some public entities very similar to your size that do things on a cost basis. So what they do is they basically say, and actually one of them, I helped them prepare the spreadsheet. So we start out with how many units did we buy, what's the yield on it, and what are we going to get at maturity, meaning how much principal are we going to get, and how much interest are we going to get at maturity, and then you take the fee off that, and then people can go, oh, I can see, right, that we're still way ahead. And then we calculate the yield off that. And it's just something to consider. They call it the cost basis valuation for public entities. It's allowed by ILCS 235, and then GASB, that's the governmental accounting. So it's just something to consider, because I can see where I would say, oh my gosh, we're paying $4,000 to get $2,900. That's ridiculous, right? I get it. Didn't realize that. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, it was confusing.
Yeah. Sorry.
So maybe you could change that, like, instead of like a program, you could just retitle it?
That's why I have to look it up, yeah.
That would be great.
Or potentially you separate out expense from unrealized gain and loss, and then that way the board kind of knows, categorize it as unrealized gain and loss. That way they
Not
know.
all of it is expense and fees, just 128 is fees, actually, everything else is.
Exactly. So maybe separating the fees out separately from the unrealized gain losses, which again, it's interesting to know that as interest rates go up, the price and market value of the existing bonds, i.e. what we have in the portfolio, goes down. The good news though is that we're still ahead, right? We're still earning way more than what we're paying in expenses. And the good news about the increasing interest rate environment is hopefully as things start to mature, we'll be paid more on your funds. It's just such a painful time when we go through at 0% interest rate.
Yeah.
So really getting 1.40, 1.70 yield, when we bought these in 2021, I'm not saying, we're miracle workers, but that was pretty good. Because we're at 0 rate.
Well, you're not in control of it, so.
That's the thing, and you're so limited due to that limited public funds tax. It's not like they go out and get you something else, so.
I mean, you're not in control of raising the rates, that's what I was trying to
No,
say.
exactly. Oh, goodness, no. Yeah, and probably a good thing I'm not.
And you get 20% and I get 20%.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Anyways,
All right, what other questions do you have?
I think that's about it for me.
Okay. Good, well, I think, we should go back to at least annually. I show up at the board meeting and go through this.
That would be great.
Everyone here.
That would be great, this is,
Well, you know what, again, kudos to all of you, and I don't know, we probably don't have a lot of historical look back, but when we very first started with the library, I know Joanne will remember this, we started with 40,000, we got to 100,000, then we got to 200,000. You're now sitting at $435,000 in an investment account, that's a lot.
yeah.
That's a lot for a
That's a
library,
lot of work
so.
you did there.
Yep, but you've done a fabulous job, so kudos to you, because there are some other people who just keep spending it. Yeah.
Thank you for coming, Lori.
All right, thank you very much. If you have any questions, let Ms. Joanne know how to get hold of me. Email and phone. All right, thank you all. Have a great evening.
Updated version? This is the, this is one of the older ones?
Oh.
Oh, it just goes there, right? All right, cool. Awesome, good learning. All right, let's move on to the consent agenda. Any items can be removed. So if there's no objections, the consent agenda will be adopted, including the June 22nd minutes, the July 27 minutes, and August 24th minutes, the August financials, and the invoice and payroll warrant.
Wait, we're not discussing anything?
So let's just
Well,
do
that's
that.
what she's asking, well, she's asking to adapt it if.
Adopt the consent agenda?
Yes.
Oh, that's what you're asking, okay.
So if I may, you should do a motion to establish the consent agenda and see if there's anything anybody wants to remove, and then you do a motion to approve it. I wasn't sure if you guys were taking 2 steps.
We're taking 2 steps, but rather than making it an official vote, just to adopt it, we thought it would be okay just to be like, if anyone objects, it's kind of like the not roll call vote. It was more just, does anyone object? Take things out now. Versus a formal motion, which we were doing before, but it was a whole other step to do the vote, so.
I
If
mean, you
it's,
could do a voice vote. for
June
the formal
twenty-second,
motion, too.
July
For the what?
You can
twenty-seventh,
do a
August
voice vote for the
twenty-fourth.
formal motion as well.
okay,
It's just that's, in my opinion, what the Open Meetings Act requires for the omnibus agendas.
but you said voice vote, so that could just be like an all in favor kind of vote?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so you gotta take the roll call and you actually approve it.
We changed it a couple times.
Then here's the June 22nd. Here's the June 27th, and this is the August.
She doesn't have this consent agenda on August 24th on it. You see what I'm saying? You said that she is,
July 27th?
she doesn't have August 24th on the consent.
In your packets, you guys, is it just June twenty-second, July twenty-seventh, and August twenty-fourth?
This is the.
Yeah, so I have that.
So on the agenda, we're doing the consent agenda, that's your agenda.
I'm looking at the wrong thing.
We're looking at the minutes, not the agenda. So on the agenda, the agenda, we're gonna be approving June, July, and August. So here's June, here's July, here's August. All 3 sets of minutes are in there,
I'm sorry.
and the agenda shows all 3 on there.
Okay, thank you, I'm sorry.
You just pull that item out of the.
All right, so now this one.
Yes, you say, I don't want this item in the consent agenda. So basically this.
Individual one.
That's why.
So are there objections to the consent agenda, adopting the consent agenda?
Are there items that you guys want to pull out of the consent agenda?
No, there's,
Questions on
on a check and summary,
Well, we can still discuss them.
Yeah, this is just adopt.
Sorry.
Oh, you
Derek, you want to grab your packet?
How was your meeting?
All right, if there are no objections, the consent agenda is adopted.
sorry, I spread it around.
All right, so regarding the approval of the minutes, any questions, on any of the meetings?
I think they were all changed, right?
Yeah. I know I emailed them, but I think you guys all, they all have looked at the text, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So any questions on it? Okay, any questions on the financial report? Start with the treasurer's report.
Well, we can start with changing the name of the bank from First Midwest because they have changed
Yeah.
July 10th.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it's about time to change that. And also in the balance sheet.
Any questions on the actual, transactions? So that's nothing on treasurer's report, profit and loss report, balance sheet, check summary.
Let's see.
Is Susan Maddox the one that was coming that was canceled? or
Yeah.
no? So we didn't even sell?
No, the check's not even in the
I
packet.
was looking, but I couldn't see it.
Yeah, no,
I was gonna look again.
It's been canceled.
Can you, this overdrive INC universal class? I'm just not familiar with it, that's what I'm asking. Do we know what that is?
Yeah, overdrive,
There is. But I didn't see explanation, go ahead.
sure, overdrive is one of our main electronic books and e-resources provider for the library. So all of our ebook collections, digital magazines are through Overdrive, and then just recently Overdrive purchased Universal Class from this other company, I believe it was Recorded Books. And Universal Class is an online course software program, so if you wanted to take a class on Excel, you could sign up through through Universal Class, and it's got actual, I think, continuing education credits for some of their classes also. They've got, business classes, computer classes, but then they've also got, feng shui classes.
Just something that patrons are using.
Yeah.
Okay. And this, it's probably one of the programs, Robert,
Kazich?
yes.
Yeah, that's one of the programs. He's doing like a supernatural,
Ghost.
Southwest Suburbs Ghost Supernatural
okay.
program.
And then McBrady, I thought we were done with them.
Well, they did the roof assessment, which was one job we had them do.
Yes.
Then they had the bid management process, which was another job we had them do. And then we had them manage the actual construction work, working with the Olson Roofing. So this was that final step that they did the construction
I'm not
management.
trying to be funny, but every month Joanne says, this is the final one, this is the final. It keeps coming. I'm like, when is the final?
Company, this was McGrady's different.
This-
The other one, last month was,
Yeah.
this one is McGrady.
Yeah, McGrady.
Last month, she was questioning, the roofing one.
Was it Olson last one?
Olson.
Oh, gotcha.
Olson.
Yeah.
But it's about the roof. I was like-
Olson was the actual people that
Company
did
that was doing
the actual labor.
repairs, yes.
And McGrady was the one that did the management of the project.
Yeah, I remember that. But I thought we were done paying that roof, but I guess not.
So how much should we pay them McGrady altogether? Just this, or there was another?
No, so there were 3 phases in the roof repair project. So McGrady has McGrady does this full roof assessment survey, and they give you the full report, and then you can take that report and you can take it to a company and get repairs done, whatever you want, and then get bids from various roofing companies. McGrady also offers service to manage the whole bid process, to put the bid package together, collect all the bids from the different roofing repair companies, put together a packet listing all of their bid quotes that they've given. They give that report to the board, and the board then can choose which of the roofing companies to do the repairs with. And then they also give you the option is, if you want them to actually manage the repair process and work with the roof company directly to oversee the repair project itself, they do all 3 of those things, and the board voted to have them do all 3 of those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
I noticed in your mileage things, you put in the Stickney-Forest, your Lions Club membership.
That's my expense report, yeah.
Once again, I don't agree for us paying that. I don't know what everybody else thinks about it.
I appreciate that, but I do have discretionary spending, and I consider that a marketing expense.
I don't know.
But then it's part of your personal.
No, that's something I do as community relationship building and marketing for the library and working with the community.
You were just voted or elected or appointed to 2 positions in the Lions.
But that's irregardless.
So you would have to, that's your personal, in my opinion.
Okay.
Personal thing, you would join it anyhow. I joined
No,
memberships too.
I would not have joined it had I not been in this position.
You didn't have to, it wasn't mandatory. I know the previous
I mean,
director
I'm
did.
in clubs too, I'm not asking
I-
for reimbursement, I mean, I always talk up the library, I would like to see hundreds of people in the library doing, again, crafts, reading books, playing on the computers.
I appreciate that.
Every place I go to, I always talk up the library, but I don't ask for reimbursements for it.
That's an entirely different thing, though. This is an organization that I joined as part of my position with the library to do relationship building with the community and to be marketing the library.
What other functions have you joined, community outreach programs have you joined to do the same thing like you claim you're doing in the Lions Club? Bringing them to us or bringing a donation or bringing something, what other outreach programs have you done in the community?
I don't understand your question. I haven't joined any other organizations.
Or why is that?
I don't know of any other organizations to join. There's no community chamber of commerce or anything like that.
Well, I mean, there's all different types of group, like suicide outreach program, I mean, there's other things you can join with, to spend money on, to be a member. You could be a member of ARB, you could be a member of,
Okay, I don't,
you could be a member of a lot of things to join, but this is the only organization that you're choosing to join? Is that
no,
basically you chose to join it?
no. It was something that other library directors do when they're building relationships with the community, and so I followed suit.
So once again, we're just following what the other libraries are doing.
I don't think it's a bad, they make donations to us.
They've made a lot of donations to us. They paid for the refrigerator that's in the other room that we use for our free lunches for the
Friends of
kids.
Library could have paid for that too.
To say we shouldn't accept money from the Lions Club?
No, I'm saying Friends of the Library could have paid for it too. It's not, there's other, like when the previous
Have you-
library director, she raised thousands and thousands of dollars for the summer reading program, for the kickoff, for those, just going to the Lions Club, and he's not here, I saw in a report too. Just those two places getting donations. It's like you're just focusing on one place to get donations.
Any of the recommendations where he can join, like if we're aware of this.
It's also, it's a community, it is a community organization, and so we're showing the face of the library like Long do. As Lynn said, if there was a chamber of commerce, we probably would be part of that. But that's not the only community.
Oh, and you saw him at the memorial program sort of thing, and he's out in the community.
Pardon me, I don't know.
He was at the memorial service, he's out in the community.
For free, correct. Those are things that he could be, there's a lot of things in the community that can participate for free. Did you have a family day? I mean, there's a lot of things in Stickney. I understand you live in Berlin. You joined the Stickney-Forest Reliance, but there's other things that could be done. I think it's a little kind of petty to ask for $65. That for memberships you would join anyhow. Like you said, if you would have joined it, so you're saying you would have never joined it, but you took two positions.
I've worked here for 10 years. I did not join the Lions Club up until the day, the month I became the director.
So
So
that's
no, I
not
did
a
not join.
personal conflict that you're holding
don't-
two positions there?
How is that a personal conflict?
We have a policy with any personal gain, you gain two positions there by us paying.
How am I gaining something?
What are the two positions?
He has two positions there.
I'm the marketing and communications chairperson,
Okay,
which means on my own time, I manage their social media.
okay,
And then they also elected me the vice president
okay.
of the organization, which there's no financial gain, so I don't understand how that
It's
is.
not financial gain, it's a personal gain. You've
I don't
gained two
understand.
positions.
What?
Never joined.
I think it's good for
It's
the
just very,
library.
it's what promoting the library there when? What are we doing? At the how are we promoting the library? The Friends of the Library met last month, but they didn't meet the month before to do anything, and now they're gonna host another fundraiser, that's great. But they could have bought the fridge, they could have donated, we have money. If you're saying you're just going to the Lions Club and he's not here. So there's two places.
Who's not here?
He's doing this outside of his work.
Who's he that you're referring to? I don't
He's
understand.
not here at bar, it was in one of the.
Oh, gotcha, okay,
programs.
gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm like, who? It's like, who's on first?
No, that's-
Which I think is the best name for a bar ever.
He's not here.
Well, back then, yes.
Another good one was at U of I, they had one called the library, so that, and then the
Oh,
sign said,
the library.
when your parents call, tell them you're at the library.
Yes, that's awesome.
Look to the Lions Club not as a place for raising money, but as,
Making connections.
making connections, being part of the community.
And for our block party, we came and did the eyeglasses testing for the kids, and I know I think it's a beneficial relation back and forth. I personally don't have a problem with us picking it up.
I think it's very good for making connections. And I think, I'm sure that one needs to do that, whether one sees an immediate benefit, you don't necessarily always, you should always make connections, and these connections always lead to other things. I think you always see that when you belong to so different social organizations. You always find benefits. Sometimes you meet someone who knows something or does something. It's just, we've helped out with some of the runs, some of our people from our library help with the runs, some of our people help with some of the other things.
Well, we're all making connections too, so here you are with the women's auxiliary, so am I. I guess, and it's just my opinion, I think it's petty. I think it's petty to ask for $65, it's not up to me, it's up to the board.
It's up to the board and
$70,000 a year.
He's doing it for the library, not for himself. And it's the only community organization. And he's too young to be in the senior citizens clubs.
I don't think so.
And those are, I mean, that's the community organizations, everything else is, more.
Right, so we'll consider that part of your marketing. Any other questions on check summaries?
Am I going crazy, or almost every other month there's a for notary for G. Fitzgerald? Is it something going on? I mean, is it something wrong with it? I mean,
I think we already paid that a couple months ago.
yeah. Was it declined or something? I don't know what's. So notary for G. Fitzgerald.
Notary stamp?
I could swear I saw it recently.
That was probably for somebody else in the library, because we have a number of the staff, our notaries. So
No, but it always says the name, you know, it says name for who is it for, and I keep seeing the same name coming up. It's like, was the check returned maybe, and we're doing it again?
The one was, the previous one was because she had moved, and she had to get it updated because she had a different address.
Uh-huh.
And then the third one is because it expired, the expiration date expired.
How many notaries do we have? Do you know?
I believe 4.
Four.
So, but when did we pay the one when she moved?
I don't know the exact one, so we.
It was recent.
Yeah, within the last, 6 months probably.
I could swear I saw it recently. I'm like, wait, is this deja vu or something?
So now that we have 4 notaries, are we notarizing all the time? And that's a lot of notaries.
You have to have somebody in the building all the time as a notary.
That's what I thought, but then we changed it to you had to make an appointment or something like that.
Like
which
call in, right? No.
I don't, if
Is
you
the
have
rule-
4 notaries, I don't think you should have to make an appointment. There should be someone here.
Is the rule to call in just to see if they're available, or the rule is to call in? for-
The rule is to avoid people making unannounced stopping into the library when people might have work to do. So if all the notaries were, if Geraldine was in the middle of a program and Joanne was working on some payroll stuff and I was off at a director's meeting and Danielle was in the middle of something else and someone just walked in, we're trying to just make it be a little more convenient. So phone first, as the ad seems to say.
If someone did walk in?
If someone walked in, they would probably make an effort to see if anyone was on site available.
Okay.
That organizational spreadsheet of, you know, who's in the building,
Yeah.
generally speaking,
Yeah.
shows who's the notary on site. So, you know, in theory, that gives you a quick at a glance who is potentially in the building unless they got called off to go do a, you know, an outreach service or something like that.
Rosa, may be recognized?
Yeah.
I just wanted to put this thought out here, because you guys are talking about notaries. I know that there was an issue a few years back. Obviously, you guys are coming up on election season, and in a few months, you know, there's going to be petitions being filed and stuff like that. The one thing I would encourage the library to not do is engage in the notarization of any election materials. In the past, the library was actually providing notarizations for candidates. And I would just encourage you not to do that, because every one of those notaries could potentially be called as a witness if there's an objection filed. So as a best practice, it is my recommendation to you that you do not have the library's employees notarizing petitions on the library's time. If they want to do it outside of library hours, on their own time, as a notary, as long as they have their own, I guess, well, if they're getting their notary stamp, and everything through the library, I do have a concern, just because, you know, I do election law, and it could be called as a potential witness. So,
So you say in terms of if we would have to pay their time to record.
I mean, they could be called as potential witness for any notarizing.
absolutely,
Yeah.
but with the election stuff, I mean, you know, it's just my recommendation, you know, the election stuff is usually
it's objected to a lot more than just a regular, you know, you're having something notarized for your bank.
Is this everything political?
Do we have to put it in the policy? Possibly,
It's
or-
the circulation petitions, I think is
Yeah,
what
the
she's referring
petitions and
to.
the statement of candidacy are generally the documents that need to be notarized.
Okay.
So it's just my best practice recommendation that that's something that you guys, you know, if people are filing stuff, they need a notary, get a private notary, go to the, you know, go to the check cashing place, whatever. I just personally, as an election practitioner, who has been doing election law for 20 years, it's my recommendation that you guys do not notarize election petitions in-house or statements of candidacy in-house for any of the board members or any potential candidates. So that's just wanted to, you guys were talking about notarizations, and I wanted to put that out there since it was fresh on my mind, so. Take it or leave it.
Thank you.
But
The only thing I don't love is like having to refuse someone, like saying, no, we can't, sorry, we know you're already done this, but I don't know what you guys.
that's fair, I mean, you know,
Well,
I'm just.
even,
saying
we
potentially-
we couldn't change the policy today anyway, because it's.
No.
we
Oh,
couldn't-
that's already in place?
Well, there's nothing preventing us from doing it
Oh,
in the
okay.
policy.
Oh,
So if you wanted to change the policy, that would require an action, but it's not on the agenda, so can't take action on it.
Okay.
Right.
okay,
So we could think about it till next time, or?
okay.
Yeah, just mull it over,
Yeah.
you know, it's just something I wanted to put out there as a best practice.
have their petitions,
Yeah.
know someone already that's gonna notarize their stuff, I don't know that they're gonna walk in the library, but.
We always do.
Really?
We could a few.
So, was it okay? I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know, is it-
Well, until
We've actually-
there was, you know, there was
Yeah.
a case a few years back.
We've
so-
even had
and that had to do
people,
with notarization issues.
we've even had people that were running for office in Berwyn that live south of the tracks, and they just came here to get their alderman petition forms
Sure.
notarized.
And, I mean, I know that there's public entities that do it. I'm just saying as an election practitioner, as somebody who has been in the trenches in these cases for a very long time, I think it's the best practice not to do that.
Mhm.
Well, maybe we'll just add it further, just vote on, maybe next month.
Yeah, I mean, just think it over. I just wanted to, you know, put it out there. It's obviously the majority of the boards.
Yeah, just maybe put it down for
Just- just
discussion,
a thought.
possible action, but we don't have to take action on it, we can all think about it.
Okay.
It could be.
Everything for the last. Okay, cool. Okay, anything else, check cover?
I have just one more thing. I'm not familiar with this bank. It's Zion's. That's how you say it?
Yeah, Zion, that's the bank with our bond, our 2016 bond that manages it.
They're the ones that handle the money for the concerts.
So is that per month, that's minus 450, or?
Annual.
Oh, that's annual.
Annual.
Okay.
There's so many banks. I don't know.
Yeah,
I never could,
yeah, so like we have
I don't
our,
know what it is.
You know,
Did something else change the name?
twice a year, we do our two, debt payments on the bonds, so we did. back
Oh,
in-
that bond.
Back in October, we did 130,000 rounding up, and then
Yes.
back in April, we did
That was borrowed for the-
8,500.
I don't know, the
Exactly,
modeling of
yeah.
that, all right?
You know, so we've got the payments we make as far as the bond
Yeah,
payment.
I
but then
wasn't familiar with the name
Yeah.
of the bank.
This is just the fee that we pay to Zion Bank then.
Yeah. No, I'm not questioning the fee. I don't know the name. I'm
Sure,
not familiar
sure.
with the name of the bank.
Any other questions? Okay, transaction list and technical report. Warrants. Any questions on the invoice warrants? Payroll warrants for 9/2 and 9/16.
If I could ask real quick, as long as Tiffany's here. So with regards to the minutes, the one thing that I was concerned about was I know that the Open Meetings Act gives us a specific deadline of when they're supposed to be approved by. It gives that 30-day or the next scheduled. Is that a problem when it gets delayed like that, or does that not really come up?
If somebody files a complaint with the public access counselor, what the public access counselor does
Okay,
is they say, okay, approve these minutes,
okay,
get it done. It's really, you just get a directive from the
Gotcha.
public access counselor to get it done. And it's generally, I believe you're right, it's either 30 or 60 days. I
it
would
says
think
30
it's-
days or the next scheduled meeting,
Okay, yes,
whichever's
60 days
later.
to file a PAC complaint, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
where I'm getting the 60 from. Yeah, or the next, within the next 2 meetings, I think you can do it within the next 2 meetings. So in answer to your question, the remedy from the PAC is just, they will tell you, put it on the agenda and get it approved.
Okay,
Finalize these minutes and get them approved.
okay.
Well, you could also approve they've been on the minutes every time to be approved, it's not like.
They just didn't.
Right, but I guess, you know, what I'm saying is just the PAC isn't gonna do, you know, the PAC's not
Right.
gonna fine you.
Yeah.
The PAC's not gonna stop you from having your meetings. Like, the teeth that the PAC has in that is really just to tell you, get it done.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, secretary's report.
Didn't have any correspondence.
Cool. Any questions on the director's report, or anything you want to say?
Vote to approve the
Oh, no, not
consent
yet,
agenda?
not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought, wait, no, but we did. Yeah. Sylvia abstained.
All right, I was reading something in
No.
the packet and I must have missed that. I
Let's see.
apologize.
Are we set up for early voting for the next month?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. It's gonna be held in the classroom just like last time.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
Where it usually is?
Yeah.
By the, okay.
Yeah, the classroom there.
I'm sorry, she's handing me this, I didn't hear what.
Oh, she was asking about early voting for next month, and it's gonna be held in the classroom upstairs, on the main floor.
Yeah, because you gotta be accessible.
Right.
And I saw the staff
Have they come
training.
and checked all your water fountains yet?
I'm sorry?
Have they come and checked all your water fountains yet? That's a big thing that there's a big movement, actually, I was just appointed to a committee from the state regarding building accessibility for disabled people. And one of the things that, we'll be looking at is honestly the height and accessibility of water fountains.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Jot that down real quick.
Yeah, speaking of summer. Staff training, I didn't.
Sorry, hang on 1 second.
Go ahead.
I just want to ask, wait, so where are we with the sinkhole? Is it covered, is there a cone on it, is it fixed? Where are we today with it?
Where we are today right now is I had someone come out yesterday from the heating and engineering place, and he assured me that it wasn't anything to do with the furnaces at all. It looks like it might be just an old drain, potentially from an old downspout that maybe went down in the ground. So we're going to cover it up and,
Do we have a cone or something out there now?
no, I mean, I just tried to straighten, I'm sorry?
It looked a little dangerous when I was looking at it a couple months ago.
Yeah,
So that's why I was just concerned if we had a cone maybe just to put on in case kids are running on there. Could be a potential trip hazard.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so just let them know.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna, that parking lot that's by the alley over there, there's 2 giant stakes sticking out of it. Are we?
I'm sorry, what?
Out there? For
The
the parking
rebar,
lot?
the metal rebar.
Metal
is that what you're
rebar,
talking
yeah.
about? The
It's
rebar?
just sticking out of there like this much.
Where is this?
Poke someone's eye out or killed them if they fell on it.
It's on the 43rd,
By the
right before the
alley.
parking lots.
But is that
I
on
just
library
saw it today
property,
when
or is it on the
I saw it
alley,
today. I
or?
saw it a couple days ago, but I realized today when I parked that it was there, so that's why I didn't email you.
So the alley where it connects to 43rd Street?
Yes.
Yes, right on the corner with it. And it, I think it's, the parking lot is there to.
The parking stop you're talking about?
Yeah, the parking lot, I think is there for the pole maybe? I don't know who put it there. But it has 2 giant, you'll see it when you leave, 2 giant stakes like this high sticking out of it.
I'll look for it. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And then are we changing the sign? Are we finding someone to change the sign?
What sign are you
The
talking
sign
about?
that says September 12th and 13th, so on the front, the marquee, well, I call it marquee.
Oh.
The marquee.
Yeah, traditionally that was Mark's job, so we usually, because it's a manual sign that's not easy to do, we would try to update it twice a month.
Right.
So if it's a little out of date, that happens, because it's not the most easy one to change. We're actually looking at trying to get a digital one, but it's kind of fallen to the wayside, working
Oh,
on
that
that.
would be great.
Yeah.
I think you got polls, right? It was
I
really
started to
expensive.
get, well, it was a little expensive, but we were using per capita grant money for it, but then there's been so much other stuff going on, it's just, we haven't had a chance to follow up on it. But yeah, no, we'll get it. I mean, again, that's something that,
Because there's some fun stuff coming up, that's all, you know.
right,
So
yeah.
we had September 12th,
Yeah.
then we have some other good
It's,
stuff on the
but
calendar.
the work that's involved with changing it is not, it doesn't make it something that we change weekly. It's something that, maybe twice a month we change it, just because people gotta go out there, you've got to prop the thing up, it's not the most stable, you have to get the letters sorted out, you have to swap out one at a time, so. It is something we do periodically, just not something we do more than twice a month usually. So.
Any other questions or concerns on the director's report?
Staff training. Because I remember us voting on it for the staff training days for
Mhm.
2022, and it was supposed to be Mondays when it's not a really busy day,
Mhm.
until 12 p.m., and then the library's gonna open and stuff like that, and it is on the website, all the days.
Yeah, it has to be
If
changed. too.
somebody's following and stuff like that, so that's voted on. So why are we now switching to Friday?
Because Mondays are 11-hour days, it became more challenging to schedule the staff, because you would have some people that would have to come out for a morning training and then potentially have to stay there for an 11-hour day until the library closes at night. So from a staff scheduling perspective, we didn't anticipate that challenge, and so we're just adapting to be able to make it easier from a scheduling perspective.
I was thinking about I don't know, but I'm thinking the Friday afternoons are the busiest, and Saturdays,
Mhm,
with kids get out of the school and everything like that,
Mhm.
and officially weekend starts.
mhm.
I don't know how was that I understand for the staff is not good, but how it's gonna affect the patrons.
The alternative is, and we've closed for full days before, we've always impacted patrons when we have to do staff training. So, I mean, it's a
How long
question.
is the staff training?
We're gonna be
Is it something
doing,
you could do like 12 to 2 close and just post it, or?
we're doing a 4-hour closing. In the past, we would do a full day of training. We would close for a full day. We tried doing it for closing in the morning and then opening around 12. But then again, we had people that had to show up for the staff training that then had to stay until 8 o'clock at night. And so they were here for an 11-hour day. And we realized after the fact that it didn't make sense to do it that way. So, yeah, potentially 2 days a year, we might be closed on a Friday when the kids are around. So,
Well, this was supposed to be the last one. You were supposed to have it October 17th, according,
yeah,
what
we
we approved.
didn't have one before. We
So you did
canceled.
not have July either?
No, we ended up canceling one because of
January, yes.
COVID. And then the July one. we just-
April? It was April 11th, July 18th?
Yeah, April we did. April, we realized what a problem it was trying to do it that way. We skipped we skipped July, and now we're gonna try doing it as the September 30th.
I mean, according to the calendar they gave me with the schedule, it looks like on Tuesdays and Wednesdays you don't have many programs.
Tuesdays and Wednesdays are still 11-hour days though.
Is it, but is it beneficial to just close on a Tuesday or Wednesday? Or you're gonna close Friday and have that?
I mean, close the library
See,
completely.
Monday through Thursday, the library is open 11 hours, and the whole point of changing it was an 11-hour day made it difficult to schedule people to do morning training and then have them stay until 8 o'clock at night. Whereas with a Friday schedule, it's strictly, we're open 9 to 5 on a Friday, so we can do, we'll be open from 9 till 12, we'll close from 12, and then we're gonna do training in the afternoon. And then people cut out, and no one has to be here for like an 11-hour day.
Yeah.
There's still gonna be some challenging issues there too, because generally speaking, Friday and Saturday staff, if you're on a Saturday, you're not gonna be working on a Friday. So there's still gonna be challenging where people that have to
Well,
come in.
it always gonna be.
Right, exactly. So the people that wouldn't be working on a Friday will just show up in time for the afternoon training, and then we have to shave off 4 hours of their time a different day of the week. So, I mean, there's still scheduling issues, but not having it be on an 11-hour day made it easier for not having anybody potentially stuck at the library for a full 11-hour day.
Another question for you,
Mhm.
nothing with the report. I don't remember Annual financial report that Stickney used to do. What's the company right now? I forgot.
I'm sorry,
Annual financial report?
after Sickage,
Yes.
last year we had Hearns and Associates.
So, is that done?
No. They,
Because
they did a good job last year. This year, we found them to be less proactive, and so we sent them all the paperwork off.
Usually by this time we
Right.
approve that report.
Exactly.
So I don't remember doing that.
And they haven't even come out yet. We've been like waiting to hear back from them, and we're like, what's going on? And
Okay.
they've been less proactive this year. I forget if I emailed Rosa, but it's like, I think next year we might do another call for bids again, because they,
We already did that, is that why they're not showing?
well, we already signed up for them. I mean, we haven't paid them yet, but we did, sign our letter of
But we
agreement
just
with them.
decided that we're gonna go another year with them, right?
We only did a single year. Yeah, we didn't do a 3-year with them, and I'm glad we didn't do that now, because they've been less
Oh, and
responsive.
on the website, you still have Stickney from 2020.
Oh, the report on Sickage? Let me check on that.
I forgot, but I found it somewhere.
Sometimes the cheapest is not always the best.
I would say they're like
It was in the middle,
I think they're
Yeah.
I think I was in that, like,
Yeah,
patron of
yeah.
the meeting, and I think you guys went like in the middle.
Yeah, but it's,
What is the dollar?
well, our experience, speaking for 24 years experience, Sickich has always come through with us, and every other one has been,
Yeah, but remember, they went up so much.
pardon?
They went up so much.
But dependability,
Yeah. Well, we tried.
yeah,
Now you cross them off the list for next time. You don't get their bed. If you get 3, you don't get theirs. They were like,
but we just,
Is there
I said,
anything in their
we're speaking
agreement?
for 24 years experience, and we've been.
I have to look.
I'd say at least a half a dozen different ones. And Sickich, we've had no problems with every year, they've done the job. And others have been from mediocre to.
They promise you the moon and they give you.
I was just suggesting that, Leighton, I was asking Leighton if there's any terms in their agreement as it relates to when they're supposed to be giving you guys deliverables, because if
Right.
they've reached their agreement, you may be able to use that to hold back some
Some
amount of
funds.
payment.
From payment, yeah.
Just a thought.
thank you.
Anything else on director's report? Alright, administrative news?
Uh,
Oh,
Real quick, I'm sorry, yeah, no, administrative news, that's pretty much, part of the director's report also, so, I thought you were jumping into department head report is all, up there.
yeah. Comments, concerns?
Well, what?
Where are we, what are we?
We're still under director's report, but then subsection A says administrative news, financial update, building news, but that's pretty much kind of covered in the director's report, so.
Okay.
Department head report?
I just had one thing Danielle asked me to add. To add to her report, she wrote the calendars that I included in the board packet show outreach that was scheduled as of September 13th. I'm in the process of scheduling youth commission from Stickney Township to visit us at the library while the weather is good on September 28th or possibly the first Wednesday of each month. Weather permitting, they will come here. So probably in the spring, maybe after their first visit. And she said all outreach will be scheduled on Wednesdays. We tried to leave that day open, but added Wednesday afternoon story times at a patron request.
I love that, because I designed permission slips, to let my kids come here for that.
Sorry.
I love that it looks like there's more stuff on the calendar. I think that's great. And more crafts on Saturdays, we went from 1 to 3. Since I've been here, I think it's fantastic. I think more kids should.
Well, I think it's been increasing because with COVID now, yes, that's where that's coming from.
No, she's saying the amounts of crafts that we are offering.
Well, even the calendar, I like the new calendar, or there was like something that listed like, I know there's concerns like, okay, we do more outreach than inreach, but I think they updated this new, one of these graphs has, the ones that are not open to the public, they're like Morton, school comes here and stuff like that, so.
The only thing is I thought we asked Danielle when she was here, and I could be wrong, was she gonna do this separate? This chart was like, what was in-house and what was outhouse?
Yeah, not in that one, however,
I'm sorry, maybe I missed it.
there is one, I saw it somewhere.
So this one here, the youth teen outreach.
Yes, that's the one I'm talking about.
So the column headers, the first column to the right is, I believe, the total. No, I'm sorry. This was for the breakout of adult versus youth that I believe someone asked for. I think this is attendance and
I
it,
mean, like this says total attendance,
Yeah, yeah,
1,024, that's not in this library with 1,024, because homeschool and it's an open house, I think that's the way she went there, she passed out bookmarks or pens or crap, that's great, but I would
That's when
like
you
to
get the
see it
kids.
like in two different ones, how much the attendance is outside
So-
and inside.
so
Like
things-
inside the library,
so
there's
things-
grass.
if you look at the bottom right corner of that chart there, the multicolored one,
Okay.
the bottom right corner gives you the guide. So community outreach is scheduled in pink. So that's an outreach program. School outreach is colored in yellow. So that's an outreach program. That's outside the building. Senior outreach is colored in blue. So that's also outside the building for seniors. And then you've got your youth programs passive, special needs. Those are in the building. So in that section there where it's talking about outreach programs, there were 56 outreach programs. 8 of them were outreach to the community. 8 of them were just teen tween outreach. 7 were youth programs. 6 were youth passive programs. 6 were outreach to schools. 2 were outreach to seniors. And then 2 were special needs. So that's the count of what's in-house versus outreach.
You're saying this pink, green, white at the bottom equals 56? Oh, sorry, Sylvia, I wanted to ask a question.
No, I'm
What often cost,
I-
I'm sorry, that I'm trying to understand it, that's rude.
I didn't,
Well, it was rude, I didn't want to say whoever did it.
I didn't say
I don't do
anything.
it to you guys.
No, I didn't say anything.
Somebody had a huff. Guys, Marge last time had a say shame on you under her breath. So we can keep our comments to ourselves and be friends.
Okay, let's be professional, let's
I
carry
just
on,
wanna
let's
understand the
answer Deb's question.
You have a huff and a puff.
Okay, carry on with Deb's question.
Total, this outreach program 56, you're saying this is what? this
I
is-
haven't totaled up the numbers, so I can check that for you right now.
Because like I love Spanish story time, that I think is on Friday afternoon, that looks good. Like people are finally coming in. But this MTC AM and PM, I think they came in the library, but it's under outreach. Didn't they have the room for like a Wednesday morning?
Yes.
Yeah, so, but she has it on school outreach, but that was really in the library. That's what I guess I'm trying to decipher,
I'll get clarification on that.
you know,
Yeah,
which ones are.
I added up,
When you look at MTC AM PM, it looks like she did it outside the library, but when I read it on the calendar, it was actually the.
yeah, that's where they came
Did
here.
they come upstairs?
No, in here.
Down
That was in
They had
here,
like
yeah.
a little meeting, so.
Right.
That to me is like, it should be in-house, even though she found them outside,
Yeah.
she's letting them use the room, so that's.
So what's FTC standing for?
MTC is the Morton Transition Center.
Oh, okay.
So
Or
there's-
was that lady that was here the last time?
I think she's part of it, but I know the last person was talking about us doing outreach over there.
Ah,
But
okay.
I know this one was, yeah, I can look like
What's the
karaoke for
difference?
them and stuff.
Okay.
I think it might be both, we might just be doing both.
I know
I-
we're gonna make the family bingo tonight, that looked fun.
Yeah, I'll get clarification. I added up those numbers in the bottom right corner, and it was only 37, so.
Yeah, that, I
yeah.
didn't think that it added up to
Yeah.
that, so that's why I was just.
So I'll
trying to
double check that, and
Ask a question.
I'll see if that's a difference between, and it's possible that everything, above that section is in-house, and these are all outside, I almost said out-house, which,
Let's ask.
yeah. I'll get clarification from
And the
Danielle.
gaming throwdown, was Mark in charge of that, right? It's all zeros, or are kids not coming to that anymore?
I don't,
Gaming throwdown, it's a zero.
Was it Isaac,
zero,
Ivan,
Zero.
doing that?
where are we looking at?
822, we're looking in green, well, here.
No, okay, yeah, I see it, 822, because they're all in date ascension orders, so,
And then 912. Was it just kids didn't show up, or?
It's
did
possible.
somebody not
Yeah,
maybe
I don't,
cancel it?
I don't know if that was
I know it used to
something,
be good when they,
Yeah.
before.
there was a gaming thing that Mark used to be in charge of, but I don't know if he has been
Passed it
lately.
to
He might have
someone
passed it on to someone else.
Yeah,
But I don't know offhand if that was just no one showed up for it. Yeah.
it could be if they're back in school or something,
Yeah.
they're taking a break. And then, you know what, I should ask this real quick in your report, Leighton, about the Jason Criscato headstone, or memory stone again.
Yeah.
Since June, it's still not fixed. You were gonna ask the landscaper?
Yeah, and they wouldn't do it also. I mean,
Do you
it's,
think we could reach out, there's a trustee there, here and a mayor here maybe, and ask Public Works? Jason was a member of Public Works, he was a member of this library, and maybe they could send a couple of people, now that it's on record that they're here and we're not in the public comments, but maybe we could reach out to the village and ask them to please, Linda walks her dog past there every day, that's for her son, I think that's really disrespectful, that's facing so much down when they have big guys at the Public Works, if the landscapers didn't want to do it, and it's been sitting there since at least June, when we walked around and talked about it, and I just think it would be nice
Nice
to.
to their attention before there.
It's been quite a while.
yeah. And
Well,
it's,
if the landscaper didn't want to take that project upon himself, so maybe we can ask Public Works to do
yeah.
it.
And I think it would be free, and I think they would not mind doing it, and I think it would be good for them.
Honored to do it, I
An
think.
honor, yeah. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
So on that, that would be great.
Okay, anything else for department head reports?
No.
All right, so now we have a trustee training.
That's so much.
Sorry, let me finish getting that pulled up.
Are you doing the video?
I was trying to get that set up before.
Cool.
It's about 10 minutes long, Tiffany, for your second one.
Yeah.
It's like 10 minutes.
Even if it was, it would be just fine.
resources that she mentioned in the video were included in your board packet, so you should all have that.
Thank you.
And before we wrap up that section, I did have one thing I wanted to mention, unless you had anything you wanted to say. Too.
No.
We'll wait. So before we moved on, I did have two things that I wanted to bring up that I forgot that were in my notes to mention that I didn't have in my printed board report, director's report, relating to things that came up during the August board meeting. I did watch some of that, most of it. Two things that came up that I just wanted to make sure was clear to everybody. It came up about Ron, whether or not he had a bachelor's degree or not, and Ron does have a bachelor's degree. So I'm not sure where that information came from, that he didn't have one, but he does actually.
I think you said that in the July meeting, actually.
Who?
I think you said it, or somebody said it. I remember I was sitting over there,
Yeah.
and we were asking, it was during the salary discussion, it wasn't the last meeting, I don't believe.
Could it have been talking about a Master's of Library Science degree?
No, we decided if the pay rate was depending on people's, you were saying if they had a bachelor's or a master's, and I think I called out, not his name, but head of circulation, and the low pay that he had. And I could be wrong, but I thought he said, well, it depends on if they have a bachelor's or a master's, and someone said he didn't.
Okay, I'll have to go back and do a.
I think it was the meeting with the fiscal year raises that we were talking about, the salaries. And I think I was sitting next to you, remember we had the table that way? Right, and you were right next to me. So that was, I think, July of the review, I believe, if you wanted to.
Sure.
And I believe, I thought it was someone that was here, it was one of you or you that said, well, he doesn't have that, and I don't know how they would know it, so I'm assuming. So if you want to go back and look it
Sure.
up.
Definitely.
Because I thought that was,
Master's degree didn't have?
That's what I was wondering. My speculation is
I
that
think
maybe.
that was horrible.
I'm not here, but maybe he didn't have a master's degree.
And just like the last meeting too, I mean, a person making $13 an hour, that's why when we open it back up, we need to even the playing field for some people, with what they have. That was part of the reasoning why in the bylaws, we wanted to know on their application, the bylaw, do they have a master's or a bachelor's in the salary level of what that position should start or end? And then see.
And that is something that we do in the admin side of things. We figure out those things. This is actually from the 2021 salary survey from HR Source. Sienna is a circulation clerk. She's not a page. I believe someone was wondering if she was a page or not. For libraries with a budget in the $1 million to $1.9 million range, the average pay for a circulation clerk is $13.02. As low as the 10th percentile.
What year is this from right now?
No, this is from the 2021 salary survey. So last year's survey that they published based on what everyone wrote. So if you look at our population, which is 11,000, libraries with a population of 7,500 to 15,000, 20 libraries responded to the survey. Of those 20 libraries, The average pay for a circulation clerk is $12.99. For libraries that have a budget of $1 million to $1.9 million, our budget's right around the $1.5 million. 23 libraries responded. The average salary for circulation clerk was $13.02 for that position that CN is in. The third category to sometimes compare to is how many people work in the library. For libraries that have 13 to 24 employees, we have approximately 17 to 18 employees at any given time. 20 libraries responded. The average salary for a circulation clerk for libraries with 13 to 24 employees was $12.79. So we're trying to do our pay based on comparable libraries budget-wise, comparable libraries population-wise, and comparable libraries staff size-wise. And that's exactly, she falls right into that average pay scale for the position that she's in. And just, they even go into the description for a circulation clerk. They check in and out materials, they inspect materials for damage, they verify due dates and calculate fines, they assist patrons with basic informational questions. They sort materials and prepares materials for reshelving, and they issue and update identification cards according to established procedures. That is the definition of Sienna's job. And so for her to be a circulation clerk, we are paying her.
I was assuming the person that made $13 was like a high school person or after school part-time person. Does she not come with any credentials?
It can be.
Does she have credentials?
She does have a degree, yeah.
So why doesn't she have a different position than if she has a degree so she can make more money?
Because she didn't apply for a position. She applied for this position. Now, if she ever gets.
Did she know the pay when she applied?
I'm sure she was offered a pay when. Well, I'm just letting you know that.
I mean, we don't, this is
I
good.
don't think it's, do you think that's good pay?
No, I mean,
My job
we
is
don't have to follow this. I mean, yeah, this is just like, and I see it's from HR source, but this is just like survey between whatever 11 libraries. We can do our own pay scale.
I don't understand why we are saying they're overpaid or underpaid when we had this conversation in the beginning and there are comments that if someone doesn't like what they're getting paid, they can go work at a McDonald's
Right.
or Wendy's.
Yeah.
Right. Well, no, that's what I'm just wondering. She deserves a better job then, if it's not, if
But
this
this
is
is
all.
what she applied for.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
we
we
can't
don't-
tell her you're too good or you're not good enough,
Right.
like,
But the problem is, we don't have this information until we ask for it. Natasha was asking and asking for everybody's job description. It took a year and it's so outdated and everyone has the same job description in there. Everyone has to be, shelve the books and everyone has the same job description.
I mean, my question
is like, what are they really doing? We don't need the job description from another library of what a clerk does. We want to know what is our clerk doing? What are our employees doing? Not just a generic, off the internet based thing.
I mean, although all these libraries from Illinois, because right now, like, this is the minimum wage over here, 13, right? I mean,
$13.35.
okay, so, we have to take some other things in consideration, That next year, that has to go to 14 or whatever
Right.
it is.
Exactly.
so what's the concern here?
I don't know, wait to bring it up.
I brought it up because at the August meeting, people were wondering if Sienna was a page maybe. And just,
I don't even know what a page is.
okay, so a
Can you
page,
describe that, please?
definitely, let me pull that up for you.
Somebody goes and runs errands.
I personally think that position should be paid more.
Regardless if this is in,
But we're
for
not,
someone, that is for high school, someone has a degree, whoever applies for it, they choose if
Yeah.
they want to accept it.
You're right,
and
she
if not,
applied for it.
Maybe like, if she wants a low stress-free job, like, let her be. But I
So a
don't-
shelver/page moves and unloads carts. They shelve materials in appropriate locations, they shelf read the shelves to make sure things are in their appropriate places. They straighten the collection as needed, and they remove out-of-place materials for reshelving. So basically, when people return materials, after they get checked in by circulation staff, they get thrown on a shelf. A page would take that cart, walk the shelves, put the materials back on the correct location. They would scan the shelves to see if anything's out of location on those shelves. They would do those types of things. We, as a library, used to have pages, but as the discussion of minimum wage going up started to come up years ago, most libraries around the area have said it's gonna be too crazy to have a page pulling in $13, $14, $15. We're just gonna take that function, that shelving function, and just distribute it, and anybody pretty much can do that. It's basically, our staff is told that if you've got some downtime, you can go to the cart, grab some books off the cart, throw them back on the shelf. We're not hiring, we used to have occasionally seasonal pages, some local girls who were, you know, either still in high school or potentially home for summer or Christmas holiday from their freshman, sophomore year of college. They might come in and do some work periodically, but again,
Friends of the library can volunteer to do that.
anybody can volunteer to do that. Anybody that loves the library can volunteer to come in and do that, not just Friends of the Library.
Well, I read it somewhere that Friends of
Yeah.
the Library are doing
Yeah.
that as well.
Yeah. Anybody that wants to walk in the door and say, hey, I'd love to volunteer and shelf books can do that. But yeah, so, and based on the salary survey, the shelver / page would only make $11.41. And so we've just not had shelver pages. We've been going with, you know, people that, you know, generally the search staff take on that page functionality of shelving books. But I even gone down there and said, hey, I'll grab these books and I'll throw them on the shelf.
That's how
We're
it
not,
should be.
we're not a big
Everybody
library.
work- Yeah,
I
there
mean,
shouldn't be that many,
bigger-
or if you're going in that
Bigger
area,
libraries
look at that.
there's a little bit more sense to doing that. For our library, where like the majority of that collection is just in those two spaces,
Right.
anybody can really do that. And everybody does do that. We
Everybody
all
should
pitch in.
know where to put a book, I mean,
But that is, you know,
Do
getting,
it like
getting back to the
cross-training.
question about Sienna and whether or not she was a page or not. She's a circulation clerk. She's making the average pay that a circulation clerk makes for a comparable library to us.
does she wanna go up in the library?
That's a-
Maybe, or she,
I don't know, she hasn't expressed
Oh,
that to
okay.
me. I mean,
otherwise I gonna look around for a better job.
no,
Yeah, I guess if it's the medium, but like in Illinois, we're ranked like 93% higher than all of Illinois, our salaries, which if this is our salaries, we're the highest, that means in Illinois, 90.
For libraries?
Yes. That's
Well,
what,
don't forget Chicago has a much higher standard of living than
this
downstate.
is on the BGA though, compared to all of Illinois, we're one of the highest paid.
I know teachers down in southern Illinois who have years of experience and are not making as much as a beginning teacher in the Chicagoland area. I don't mean Chicago, I mean the suburbs as well. Because our cost of living is so much higher here. So you can't quite, the cost of living in Chicago is higher than if you live down in
Well,
southern.
that's why I don't believe we should go by some of these things, just as we should not
No,
go
these
by
things-
some of
No, it's comparing, we're comparing libraries in equating in the same area, the same type of libraries.
If they have, where are the 20 libraries at?
In this area. In this area. The same size libraries in this area, in the same.
Okay, the question to ask is, are these 25 in Illinois or are they on national?
So this
National.
This is the list of everybody who took part in the 2021 library survey. So we've got Acorn, Addison, Algonquin, we've got Oswego, we've got Orland Park, Adele, I have no idea where Adele is.
So this is
Marissa.
Illinois, this is Illinois.
It's definitely all Illinois. I think it might be all the Northern Illinois Rails system, but I don't know that for sure. We've got Dunlap, we've got McHenry, we've got Messenger.
I see Lyle, LaGrange.
Yeah,
Okay, so do we have questions about pay?
yeah.
Is that what we're discussing?
We
Well-
started the conversation, I'm
Well,
not sure.
I brought it up as part of my director's report because there were concerns about things that were discussed at the August board meeting, people that thought were inaccurate and wanted clarification on them.
Thank you.
So I wanted just to make sure that those were clarified for the board. I did have one more thing, as long as we were on the subject. Marge, you had offhand asked about IT managers, if we were to hire someone versus outsourcing IT management. IT managers tend to make, and again, no libraries within our budget line have an IT manager. No libraries within our population range have an IT manager, and no libraries within our employment size have an IT manager. If we were to try to hire an IT manager, you know, these are the salaries that they're looking at for that type of thing. This is why I'm looking at just outsourcing it. It's what Brookfield does, it's what,
I think
North
it's a
Riverside
better,
Park
I
does.
think it's a better idea, because you don't need that person
Right.
every day and on
Exactly.
call.
Yeah,
You know, if it's,
Well, one of the things that I saw when I was working was if you have the person as your employee, they have a vested interest. And they are going to be there and do not only their job, well, they're there all the time for every little thing. And they have an interest and will they're part of the team. When you have it outsourced, that's one step removed. They're not as concerned. They're not there all the time.
I know they're not there all the time,
But
but
they
I do
fix the
think
issues.
they're concerned. I think they're there to do their job. Maybe they're not friendly with everybody when they're there, or maybe they're not there 24 hours, but I know several people that have the IT just a company, and they build a relationship with that person. That maybe it's the same
They have the
person.
same one,
If they have the same one, because they work in that area, you build your own relationship with them, just like the mailman, you know, he brings your mail first because he knows you want it in the morning, or you're waiting for a check or a box of chocolates, you build a relationship with them, and I think they do give you special service. So I agree with you that it's nice to have them here 24 hours or full time, but I don't think it's necessary. I think you could still build a relationship with an outside source, in my opinion.
In the meantime, if something happens with IT, what's our backup?
Right now, until we have, I've got, as I mentioned in my report, I've reached out to 3 or 4 different companies. We're starting to get quotes in. I was gonna originally try to have it by tonight, but I realized that was way too unreasonable. Yeah. So we're looking at an October date to have all their quotes prepared to put together. Like I said, the guy that works for Brookfield came out, and he's been working there for 20 years. They love him there. I talked to the director at Evergreen Park. They use this other company, Current Technologies. They're very happy with that. So basically, I'm just waiting until they can come in, take a quick look at our environment, and get quotes to me. Yeah.
Well, sometimes the
And-
fresh face
yeah.
makes it, you know, who knows?
And if we have a horrible storm and we lose power, then we potentially may have to either pay somebody that we don't have a contract with to come out and repair it. It may incur, you know, a brief
Maybe the
downtime.
IT company can do it.
Say again?
you know. Maybe that company can do it as well.
Possibly, yeah. I mean,
I wish
one of the companies I've reached out to get a quote from is IT Savvy, and that's the company that Mark would work with. And so they already are familiar with our environment. So if the poop hit the fan and we had a bad storm and lost power, I probably would reach out to IT Savvy first, because they already know our environment. I don't know what they would charge to do a non-contracted dispatch out to you know, help out with things. But they would be the ones I would feel most comfortable with, since they're already fairly
Yeah, but
familiar.
let's say you have a contract, you hire the company X, I'll just call it X. I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be in a contract with something.
Oh, no. They were asking like what happens if something happens right now.
Oh, okay.
Before we contract with somebody,
Oh, okay.
like over the next, between now and October, whenever the next board meeting is, 27th, 26th, you know, between now and October 26th, if lightning strikes and we lose our server, this is the danger zone to bring up Mr. Kenny
Oh, okay.
Loggins.
I thought you were talking about
Any
it.
other comments you have?
No, that was it.
Does it? Alright, no committee reports?
No.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm back to the appropriation.
Section 7.
Oh, here we go. Thank you.
Yeah, we did have a member, we do still have a member of the public here, but the other one we had left, so.
So we still have, now it's time for public comment. If you guys have anything to say, I just ask that, you limit it to 5 minutes max. And a reminder that we may not dialogue with you, but we are happy to hear your words and thoughts. You guys have anything to say?
No, someone will be done tomorrow.
Thank you, Mayor. Awesome. Okay, no public comments. Okay, unfinished business, this public facial covering
all done, you
Yeah.
know, that's, you see different things. Shoot, I just
It's at
lost the
the-
page, there we go. So my only suggestion would be, because it's kind of disjointed now, because it goes from saying that you guys are dedicated to providing a safe and comfortable environment, and then it goes, for patrons whose medical conditions prevent them from wearing a mask. So it doesn't really go into when a mask might be required. So obviously, right now, no masks are required. But, so my suggestion would be possibly adding a sentence right after that first sentence, before that, for patrons whose medical condition, adding a sentence that says, should the state, federal, county, or local Department of Public Health require certain facial coverings due to COVID-19 or other infectious diseases, the library shall enforce said requirements.
Wasn't that the first?
Isn't that the first
That's
sentence?
the first sentence.
In red? This public facial covering policy is optional.
Oh, I didn't realize that was, okay, I'm sorry.
So we're adding that. What if it's in red,
Oh,
we're
yes,
adding that.
okay, then totally scrap what I just said.
Date that to us.
So obviously I'm consistent.
What happened was, so at the bottom, part of that was in that bottom paragraph, and that's been lined out.
Okay,
It had been moved up to the beginning, but then they stripped it down further. So it's in red to indicate it's new to that section, and then the bottom part was lined out, and then that's the
okay.
new section.
Well, and I would also possibly just add to that just one more thing, because I know that the Stickney Township has its own Department of Public Health, doesn't it?
It does.
And so you guys aren't really beholden to, say, Cook County Department of Public Health, Stickney, or maybe you might be beholden to both. I would just add, and Township Department of Public Health.
Federal, state, township, or
Or
county.
county.
Well, federal, state, county, township, as far as order of,
But specify Township Department of Public Health, because the township itself, as a township, cannot really dictate to you regarding facial coverings, but the Township Department of Public Health could. So the Department of Public Health is not per se, it's a separate entity. So that would just be my suggested edit otherwise. And yeah,
Now-
I didn't really see this up here, to be quite honest. I thought that it was something different, because usually when I do edits, I underline them.
Yeah.
So like underlining is new language, striking out is getting rid of language. So
Gotcha.
seeing it in red, my eyes just didn't absorb it, I suppose.
So
my apologies.
whereas it says federal, state, or county governmental agencies, should that say something more similar, like governmental health departments, or?
I would say federal, state, or county government agencies, or local departments of public health.
Or local, okay.
And that way you're just saying local departments of public health, whether it's the county or the township, you're encompassing both.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the only thing we're adding, is that very few words to the top, couple more agencies. Everything else?
It should cover it.
Then do something.
Pass it with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Let's get down to this one.
You guys can throw that as an idea.
so is there a motion to approve the revised public facial covering policy,
As amended.
As amended.
I move so.
Okay, suggestion?
I'll second motion. I can look at the document sometimes and find something different that I want to say, so.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes, sorry.
Edgar?
Yes.
Yes.
Right, yes, right.
Yes. Marge, yes. Rosa?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
Finally, I don't want to see that on the.
Yeah, okay, the security camera review, so Layton printed out, thank you, the visuals of every single angle that we have. So I know there's.
Were those ever sent to you guys?
Yeah, this
Yes.
one I'm not understanding, that's why I printed it out.
It says,
Does it say what it's asking?
It looks like it's looking.
It says Oak Park S.
Oak Park South.
Or
Oak Park-
a tree or something.
Oak Park
It's
South.
got the sign, but what are we watching besides the tree and the roof?
Cars?
It's Oak Park pointed south.
But if this is the view, this is.
Yes.
Sure,
Yes. So that probably needs to be trimmed
Needs to
some.
be changed, right?
Yeah, it's up here.
Well,
Yeah.
Get it somewhere
Trimmed.
else.
I mean, we could try moving the camera, but it might be easier to trim the tree.
Just cut all the top of it down.
Okay, so the reason we printed all these
not seeing you
No,
around.
you're right.
So there were concerns in the last meeting on
Last time.
if we should get quotes for, new cameras. Layton did also email this to someone in the police, the chief?
Yeah, Chief Ciccetti.
Did he respond to me? No?
No.
Okay, he hasn't responded.
I thought it said something in the report about Jeff Johnson.
Jeff Johnson, I think he's coming out to do our active shooter training.
I think Lon was contacting
Yeah.
him.
He's the one coming out to do active shooter training for the staff training.
It was a circulation report.
So take a second to look over the security cameras. Do you guys think we can just, if there's one that's a concern, like right now here you're talking about one that's facing a tree, can we move them? Do we need to add more? Do we need brand new cameras from someone else? Do we need to change anything?
I think when watching reviewing the video, maybe it's misunderstood what I was saying, because I have cameras at also my business that you go back and watch, just like we have here. I wasn't insinuating they were live cameras. I think you maybe interpreted it that way when I said if someone was wearing a hoodie or mask, we couldn't get a picture of them. I didn't mean at that time. I mean, we can't go back and get a picture of them. So is there a reason why we don't have a camera like behind the circulation desk to the front door?
Just that it was never put there. Whoever did the original camera
So
placement,
it's feasible.
anything's feasible. We could have, I mean, the only limitations we possibly might have
It's 25 is the max.
is if the 25 is a max on the device itself, which I don't know yet. Mark kind of handled all that.
I mean, the bird's eye view is okay because nobody can touch them or
Mhm.
destroy them or damage them or
Mhm.
vandalize them, whatever. But having the top of someone's head is maybe good if they stick a book in their purse. Otherwise, I think
When they walk in,
upstairs,
I think, like, if something happens and police or FBI requires the
when
images,
somebody falls down the
as soon as they
stairs-
walk in, if you have that image
Well,
on
if someone
both
falls down the
doors-
stairs, they're gonna be on that camera there, because those are the stairs right there.
Okay, which one?
That's
I
the
didn't
bottom
go
left one.
What number is
Yeah,
that, lady?
I mean,
That is, that's called 43rd Street East.
Okay,
which
but
is-
see this? You don't really have the door itself, like.
No, I know, but you were talking about falling down the stairs.
That's what I mean, if they want to like pretend like they were tugging on the door and fall backwards
just
down
move it a
the
little.
stairs. I don't, do we need all of it, like can the camera be tilted a little more?
Oh, so that one doesn't need the angle.
Well,
Like just the angle?
you know,
Or
do we
have
want,
mic
you
rack?
know, right now we've got coverage of cars, so if there's potentially any cars get damaged in the lot,
Or the mic rack?
you know, or the bike which got crashed into. Oh, that was a different video. I don't know if you saw that.
I
one.
didn't get to see
But
that.
that one did happen
But the
too.
mic rack looks nice.
Yeah.
It's exact.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if the bottom where someone fixed it is gonna last. It looks already like chipped up.
Really?
I don't know if it's gonna weather through
Okay.
snow and salt. You
Well, that
might
was-
wanna look at it before, I don't know who did it.
That was Lewis, our handyman, that did that.
Okay.
So,
you can put some sealant in maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't look like,
mhm.
I think Marge, you were outside with us when we
Yeah,
were
it
looking
was,
at it.
yeah, it looked very coarse concrete as opposed to this smooth matching the sidewalk.
I don't know if there's something else you can put over it to try to save what he did, or otherwise, I think one winter and it's gonna be,
Okay, so
Well,
that,
they did do us a favor and it'll level it off.
yeah, you want to have the little bumps on there, maybe.
okay,
That's what it looks like.
So that's not bad.
that cameras, are you saying, are we saying,
That's the
like,
kids department.
we should angle it more, leave it at
Well,
this? What do we-
I guess if we had one on the inside behind the circulation, it would hopefully get to the front door.
And, you
See,
know,
like this one, but the kids department is not as bad. I
We
mean,
don't have
you can see
any
somebody
Right.
walking in.
Any camera going the entrance by the children's.
Yeah, it's on
Yeah,
the
we do.
bathrooms, and it's only on one of the bathrooms, it should be moved a little more.
Well, and again, if you want to catch people
So they go out
walking
there
in.
too.
You could see people going into both bathrooms.
Because your Unabomber can come in either one of the doors.
That's what we're afraid of now. Everybody be afraid after January.
Isn't that a shame?
And then,
There's a camera at this entrance here.
Yeah, where did I see that?
we're also, now you look and there's nothing.
I think that's the bedroom behind circulation
No,
desk.
no, no, yeah, I say it was.
Oh.
There's
Maintenance room.
towards there.
Oh, park entrance?
no, I'm talking with the
Yeah, they should.
Edgar.
I mean, is there any coverage?
Elevator. What is this, Leighton? This elevator thing, is this like over here?
That's the second floor. That's, so that.
Oh, that's
that-
your
That's the
office.
admin door there. Yeah, yeah.
And that's over here.
Yeah, we definitely need some adjustment, I think.
I mean, that's one by the elevator, I mean, I don't know how much you have traffic.
Oh, perfect.
This one too, maybe.
Okay, so let me take this one up, guys.
Actually, you know what?
This one that is, the door, the children's entrance is right here. And then there's a bathroom, where did you just point this one right here?
Yeah.
And then the other bathroom is right here. So this one has people.
What number are you on?
This
What's
one
the
is
page?
called.
I'm gonna put it up on the
Park
screen.
Ent. ENT.
Oh, I was referring to this main washer one where it has half of a bulletin board. If we moved it a little to the right, you would have both bathrooms.
Those aren't bathrooms.
What is
So
that?
that's just to the right of the patron computers. So that door in the dead center is the bathroom. That door in the middle is the cleaning supply closet. And then that third door is where the utility sink and the big moppet, the janitorial equipment is kept.
So this is main washroom?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What do we need to just shift it? I mean, would we want to see what's in this door more than what's on this bulletin board?
That's, yeah, I mean, that's left over from before, yeah.
Yeah. That one you might be able to just, or you can. I don't know, okay, camera.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. 'Cause we don't just, it's not a simple, so.
Pretty good at picture,
Yeah, that was, that's not
Are they all the same upstairs too? Are they all round or some have, swivel
I
heads?
think they're all round.
You know, they might just be old because they need stuff so new
Some,
now.
half of
They have
them,
like
half of them are
360
old.
degrees.
Yeah, so, you know, 1 second.
You're the ones that are in the iPads when you go through and then they.
Oh my God. They always get you, right?
People find a bank robber like in
Yeah.
another state with those cameras, I swear.
Here's another picture. This is a, I don't know, that's downstairs here.
Okay, so,
So yeah, so this is the north parking lot facing east towards Oak Park Avenue. This is the north parking lot facing west towards the alley. That's 43rd Street entrance where you've got the stairs there. You can see people coming and
Oh, it
going.
looks much better than in the packet.
And then, you know, when we had the car jump the curb and take out the bike rack, or when the other car jumped the curb and took out the railing, that was all on there. Plus, we do get coverage of parked cars, so occasionally we'll get the police asking us for, hey, you know, like we actually had them ask us recently if we had coverage of the St. Pius, and it's like, no, it doesn't reach that far over there. That's the west parking lot where the new smart locker is and the staff.
Yeah, that one I think we should have shifted too, to look more on the cars in the door than on that person's garage. I mean,
Well,
you
it's-
want to get a
it's-
little
it's-
alley coverage, but,
It's up against the wall right here. I mean, there's not a lot we can shift. This is the wall here.
oh, that's where the camera is, you mean?
Yeah, the camera's mounted on the wall, so
I mean, you
this,
can put it down a little more towards like the handicapped person, and then you have that blue button that turns.
it's possible, but, you know, any physical moving them will require recabling of the equipment also.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so this is where we've got that tree.
Yeah,
that
that's
tree.
like, actually, that's just a dead view.
I
right
could,
now.
I could reach out to, Siebert and see if, they could do an additional job just to trim that down.
I
some.
mean, we're gonna lose leaves anytime soon, so.
Yeah, I mean,
Well-
come fall, yeah.
others, or take it out and put it
This,
on the,
More towards 43rd Street, maybe, past the tree?
no, I would say in a way, either take it out or put it down so it is on the portion of that roof, that it's down on that part of the building rather than that high up, because this doesn't,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
just-
kind of useless right now.
just,
but it does cover the signage, like.
Yeah,
where
in
it's
the corner.
And if we're gonna have
That's okay, let them
electronic
mess with the
sign-
sign.
And if we're gonna have an electronic sign.
If you're gonna have
that's
electronic,
what
it's
we're
for it.
and, you know, 4 years ago, this was a cleaner view. I mean, this tree has definitely grown up over time, so, but just remember, if we're talking about moving cameras versus just adding cameras, moving cameras will require recabling, you know, it's a much
Well,
more.
that's what we would have to see what the cost is, because if the cost is the same as just dumping in and getting new cameras that are clearer, the clarification and the coverage is better, you have to kind of weigh it out, what you want to, you know, spend it on. That's a good view right there, that's not bad. The tree is just like kind of overflowing.
Okay, so what's our request right now for the cameras?
Just to have someone on the front door when people are walking in, the same like with the kids section?
The
The
kids
kids
section
section is
is
good.
It's
No?
fairly decent.
No, that one is decent, but to have something like that to catch people walking in the front door,
I know what you're saying, yeah, that almost eye level.
yes.
Yeah, so you can see their face, not just their top of the head.
It is, yeah.
Even that one is a little higher, but okay, it can go. But,
You're still not really gonna get a person's face. I mean, that's,
Hang on one second, I'm gonna try to find something for you.
okay.
Rosa,
Yes.
while he's looking at that, I brought up the police last time, and I know Mark was talking, but one of the active shooter training is lately with that Jeff Johnson.
Mhm.
Might want to ask him, he's an expert in a lot of things, but he runs the NIPA's team, which runs SWAT and safety, and he's doing an active shooter training class here very shortly, right?
Mhm, exactly, yeah.
Maybe you can get him to
Yeah, definitely.
review it. He's very, very sharp, man, very sharp. He does all our training for our.
That's a good idea.
Okay, cool.
You know, one of our, but he's very good. So I can, somebody doesn't want to talk.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Mr. Public comment time.
They said, man, we didn't lose some money.
so I think that's what you were saying the last time, to call the chief or to send one of the detectives, because if they were to come in the library, they will tell you exactly what's their opinion.
Well, this is Mr. Johnson, son of our new police and fire command vehicle with cameras and computers, and it's parked in our parking lot. We just, well, did you finish the seat? Maybe not. He set up, we can already have that command vehicle that we can do inside the station with computers, police and fire. We have live stream TV, so if there was a midway at a plane crash, or if we had some type of active fire or active shooter, we can also watch Channel 7 or an update possibly from reporters or helicopter.
So we only have 37 police officers standing outside of the room while there's shooting going on.
No, not our guys. But so, Mr. Johnson put this all together for us all. He's
That's great.
sharp with computers, cameras. We have a full range camera, telescopic, that we can put on any scene we want, like we had Family Day. We could put it right on the event and monitor and videotape it full day for all day, 8 hours or whatever.
I think Ron's got his contact info, so I'll go ahead and forward him that packet now prior to the upcoming event.
So, Chief, know you're in contact. Thank you for your time.
I just wanted to give you a head, now this is not the best footage because this is, I was playing it on the TV and just recording it with my iPhone, but we had an incident where this guy was bringing his Doberman Pinscher into the library. And I just wanted to give you an idea of like,
One report.
so you can see, you know, you do get, you know, facial, I mean, it's not totally head on, but I mean, it's not, it's, you do get a decent look
What's
at,
he doing with that dog?
he's bringing him into the bathroom with him.
Ew.
Yeah. But our concern was like, what happens if, you know, someone's bringing the kids out of the youth
That's at the kids
department?
department.
That's right outside the kids department, yeah.
It's a good dog.
So, but that's,
It's not a
that's,
service dog? I don't see any
No.
service dogs.
No, that's in the service.
but
Is
that,
he taking it to the
First
bathroom?
class.
Yeah.
that just gives you an
I have a dog
idea.
owner, but my goodness.
Well, instead of leaving him outside while he goes to the bathroom and something happening out there, he's taking the
No,
dog.
I think he
with him.
continually
But-
did it in the report.
But-
When I read the police report, I think he did it a couple of times.
Oh.
So that gives you an idea of the kind of footage you get from that camera there and, you know, being able,
Yeah, that's not too bad.
I mean, it's not too bad because he's not trying to hide. I think if he walked in with his head down,
Yeah, but there again, if they put their head down, you're not gonna get it
You're not gonna
here
get
at
it.
this. Okay.
with the front door, I think the main door should have it like from the
Well,
circulation straight up.
that's the guy that does that's a professional.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And that's, can we go along, move
Yes,
along?
alright, so that is good to go. Okay,
Okay.
new July 1st, 2022, and ending June 30th, 2023.
Did we approve the fraud prevention policy?
No,
That's coming up.
Yeah.
That's under new business.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So any questions, comments, concerns on this, appropriation ordinance?
Is that the one that we had the meeting prior?
We already passed
Yeah.
it, right?
No, no.
I make a
So-
motion, we approve the appropriation
So
ordinance
we had the
Oh,
budget
I-
hearing.
You've got it, that's why I don't have it.
for the
What?
fiscal
No.
year beginning July 1st, 2022, and ending
sorry.
June.
No, oh, that, okay, so this is, okay, yeah, so she, motion,
This is the budget and appropriation ordinance, ordinance number fiscal year 23-02. This ordinance constitutes the budget and appropriation ordinance for the Stickney-Forest Public Library District, beginning, for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022, and ending June 30th, 2023. So I need a motion to...
I made a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, Natasha, okay. I'll second it?
Second.
Okay, Sylvia, you can second. All right, Jenny,
Yes.
Edgar,
Yes.
Natasha,
Yes.
Sylvia?
Yes.
Marge, yes, Rosa?
yes.
Okay.
All right, moving on to the fraud prevention policy. This is, we made some changes, and then I know there was, some concerns at the last meeting about if the department heads should have, access to the credit cards, like extra, order extra for them.
It's not a concern, it's on our credit card policy.
What's our credit card?
Open the credit card policy.
Please.
Please, sorry, thank you. It says that we're supposed to have it like that.
That the department heads should have credit cards?
That's why some.
That's
So
what I
we-
was asking, do they have it or not?
17, some of the policies have to be updated. I mean, there's so many. If we did a couple at a time, just to say, okay, we looked at it.
So this is our full list of policies. We do not have a credit card policy. Now,
On the website.
now what we do have is under the fraud prevention policy that you have in front of you. In paragraph, in bullet 1, it talks about library will not process payments from vendor, blah, blah, blah. Exceptions are credit card accounts, and then it says the library has a credit card with, the old policy still had Standard Bank prior to First Midwest, changing that to Old Midwest. And before it had cards are issued to library board president and the library director. To my knowledge, that is the only statement about
So
credit
if
card
you go on
policy.
our website,
Okay,
can you check over there, please?
yeah, definitely.
That's what I saw. It's like, well, if you already have a policy, let's just get the, if it's easier for the department heads to
If
purchase
it's on the
something.
website, it should have been in that folder, so let me double check.
It's listed as credit card, it might be like spending or.
Yeah,
Natasha has to take the money to the bank.
there's collection,
That's what it says.
Not gonna
community,
get-
community.
That's what it says. It says, bonded library board treasurer takes the money to the bank.
Good luck with that.
If I may on that, there's actually in section 30, well, it shows had the section. What's that?
I'm sorry. I'm doing a search for the word credit,
I had it
and it's
figured
like,
out.
there's no word credit.
Under section 30-45 of the Illinois Library District Act, it does state that the treasurer holds a bond, but the treasurer is bonded. However, it states that as an alternative to the personal bond on the treasurer may secure for the district an insurance policy or other insurance instrument that provides the district with coverage for negligent or intentional acts by district officials and employees that could result in the loss of district funds. The coverage shall be an amount at least equal to 50% of the average amount of the district's operating fund from the prior 2 fiscal years. The coverage shall be placed with an insurer approved by the board. The cost of any coverage shall be borne by the district.
Yeah, we have all that, we have it, but in the red here,
Oh, yeah.
it says.
That's what they wanna change.
Library board treasurer takes the money to the bank for deposit.
Who does it now? Joanne
Because
does it now?
the
You do it?
Who does the auditors said.
We currently have me bonded now too, so that I can take the money to the credit, to the bank.
You're not the library board treasurer.
Well, who's asking to change?
And you should have
It's all about addition.
slash director.
The
Auditor
The old,
Said that we should have.
Which auditor?
hang on a sec. Yeah, it was, no, I think it was Sickich, actually. It was an older auditor that said that it was supposed to
In
be.
your red, you have it.
No, I know, because again, that was, we tried passing, the reason why this still has Standard Bank as the bank listed is because we tried having this changed like almost a year ago.
In 2020, more than that.
2 years ago.
2 years ago?
For a number of years already.
Yeah.
This has been a long-
So
Yeah.
at that time, the auditor made that recommendation. And then when the policy never got changed, that verbiage, I just took the old proposed changes to the thing and swapped out First Midwest with Old National, just to bring it up to the most current bank. But all
No,
the
you
other
didn't
changes,
swap everywhere.
where,
You still have First Midwest bank account at the end. The third to last paragraph.
If I may make a suggestion, why identify any specific bank?
oh, I don't know, I mean,
To be quite honest,
So bank-
you guys may change banks.
yeah.
Year after year, just say that you don't even need that sentence of identifying which bank it is.
But
I don't see any reason for that.
'Cause
Because you may change. And
before-
now you gotta change the policy because you're changing banks.
Before, it also used to have the Illinois funds thing in there too. I
Yeah.
mean, would that have needed to be in there too? Because I just basically took out where it said Illinois funds and also put the bank information in there too. I mean,
I would need to see it to understand what you're saying.
in the
But
third,
yeah, I don't see any, honestly, I don't see any need to call on any specific bank. Just because again, then you're gonna have to go through the process
Just say
of changing
per
it.
bank.
Yeah, we'll just say that, the library the library may maintain a credit card that is funded and insured by the FDIC, or that is issued by an FDIC insured banker.
Oh.
Something like that. This way you don't have to change it every time you guys change banks. And unless there's some sort of accounting rule,
I don't
something
know.
that the auditors
Yeah.
are, saying you should identify which bank, I don't see the need for that.
I was thinking about that too, I think,
We're changing
we
names.
seem that they change names every 2 years.
Right, so then that means you gotta change your policy every 2 years, and then, when you change your policy, then everybody starts, looking at things, nitpicking, okay, let's change this, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes you just end up not really making any progress on
It
it.
says the accountant of the library, who is that? The accountant of the library, the accountant of the library.
We have a consultant that's our accountant, Kelly Zabinski.
A consultant, that's your accountant?
Yeah, and we have an outside accountant, a third-party accountant, yeah.
So what are they doing? I'm sorry. Because here it just says they can't handle cash, they can't do this, so what can they do? What are they doing?
They-
The idea is to, you don't want one person handling everything because it's too easy for sticky fingers.
Right.
So,
I was said sticky fingers too.
so in this case, the accountant, they're a little like the auditor. They're overseeing our,
They're checking our QuickBooks, yeah.
right. So they don't handle any cash. That's not their job. And we have been told by the auditors that that Joanne really shouldn't be taking the money to the bank because she's collecting it, that there should be
She's
another
not
party.
bonded.
Right, she's not taking them anymore. It's-
No.
you're-
But Layton is bonded,
Layton
Layton is
belongs.
Right, we
taking it.
got, the reason the bonding budget line went from 500 to 600 is so that I'm bonded now too. So
If you get over the head, and the money's insured.
So who is all bonded?
Natasha and me.
Okay.
And actually, it's Natasha should be doing it because Layton does handle cash and is in the line for approval of everything. And again, Natasha is that third
Or we
party.
should just get Joanne bonded and she can go do it.
No,
No,
because
the idea is.
yeah,
the idea
she's
is-
actually more involved with counting the money and doing stuff, so I'm one step removed from Joanne, so it's a little better for me to be doing it than for her to be doing it.
Right.
So then would you please take this sentence that satisfy my little brain, where it says the bonded library treasurer takes to, the bonded library treasurer / library director takes the money. to the
I could just
bank.
put only bonded, approved bonded people.
Whatever you wanna do, but don't make it just library treasurer.
Yeah, because I kind of have problem with that because I'm not paid by the library. You know, if you're paid, if you're working for the library and that's part of your job, okay. You know, I don't have that much time to go and do that, and
Well, I'm trying to, I'm trying to
Yeah.
just stick up for you.
I understand, thank you. I got it. Thank you so much. But,
Yeah, I don't think it should even say board treasurer.
Yeah, I think it's just, I should say any party bonded or otherwise insured in compliance with section 30-45 of the Illinois Library District Act shall be authorized to take deposits to the bank.
And Debbie, were you saying, if you notice the line there, the person responsible for recording the cash transactions is not the same person making the cash deposits. That's what part of this is, why you're having different people do it.
Okay.
see over here?
Oh, jeez.
And I don't know, what was that library board treasurer? Only the library board treasurer can withdraw funds from Illinois funds, and how it's crossed off.
Yeah,
That,
that's,
well, so Illinois Funds was this previous savings account system that I really know very little about, but it's something that the state of Illinois had that a lot of libraries took part in and would like save money. I guess maybe they had better rates or something at the time.
That was, what's her name, Judy Barton, the Pincus thing.
Okay.
So where is the money at?
It's back in our bank. I mean,
Who took it out? Well, Natasha was supposed to take it out, or the treasurer.
Natasha was treasurer.
she wasn't the treasurer back when that happened. Yeah,
Way back when.
this, I mean, like I said,
Judy Barton, Pincus.
the fact that the,
This goes back.
Oh my gosh.
The fact-
Well, don't say any more people, I'll just show all of our ages.
the fact that the policy still says standard bank shows how out of date it is.
Yes, because it's been through several
Yeah.
iterations since then.
I mean, you know, if I may, my suggestion would be to make a lot of this a lot more generic.
Yeah.
Because you guys are identifying specific banks, specific entities, specific funds. And what you're really just trying to do, I think the purpose of this policy is that you guys want checks and balances. And you want to identify who is doing the checks and balances and who is authorized to perform which acts. And I don't think that that authorization really changes based upon which type of fund it is or which type of account it is. You know, I think you just want to have something that essentially says that, you know, the person that's processing the money shall not be the one that is taking the money to the bank. That there's going to be at least two hands on that to make sure that, you know, you got the check and the balance. So I think you can make this a lot more generic. I'd be happy to help if you need me to, but I think it should be a lot more generic. I don't think it should be as specific as it is.
This is, yeah,
It-
it shouldn't have the name of the bank on it.
I think so, it really does. It
No
really
name
does.
of, no names of the banks, no, I really could completely.
Cool. Okay, so we're not gonna,
No,
do
this can't go
anything on
tonight.
this?
This is
Revise it.
Put it on the next
Should do
agenda.
a motion to table then.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to table the fraud prevention policy.
second.
Okay, thank you.
That is not right.
You can do a voice vote.
Oh,
You
good
say all in
enough,
favor.
yeah. Any, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Yes, okay.
It's not a credit card, but I read it somewhere.
I'm sorry?
It's not a credit card policy, but I read it somewhere, I can't remember.
Okay, next item is the, library insurance discussion. So right now we use, what is it called, Limerick?
Limerick?
So we pay, it's bundled, so it's not,
Email that Joanne had sent out.
oh, perfect. This isn't, I'm sorry, this is bundled. So I know there are concerns of like, okay, we pay this amount, should we see if we can find something cheaper? I had her not look into it just yet because there's still a lot we need to look into and I don't want to send her blind and wasting her time. Right now, our bundle includes, like eye vision, dental, the insurance, life insurance. So are we wanting her to go quote shopping?
Well, I think last time we did ask for that, now we're gonna miss the open enrollment, right?
Yeah, well, she was gonna need more time anyway, she can't do it, because the open enrollment has to be decided by September or something.
It's November.
There was a date. But, I don't want to waste her time when we need to give her clear direction. So we are gonna have her shop, we just want to, like, what is our recommendation, what is it that we want her to shop?
Well, I don't know that 4 choices of like HMO, PPO is $750, $1,500, you know, even my stepdaughter right now, that's how I know it's open enrollment, you either get HMO or PPO. You don't get all these different
Don't
deals.
confuse this with Medicare enrollment.
This is not Medicare, she's 26 years old.
Well, whatever, it's not, this
This is
isn't,
not Medicare.
oh,
I'm saying you,
well,
well,
you
you have
have
a choice of
enrollment for what?
for insurance companies now. It doesn't matter, for health marketplace or any insurance right now, when you want to switch companies, the government is part of having like open enrollment.
Okay.
So you either get HMO or PPO. You don't get a choice of, well, I want a $750 deductible, because the higher deductible is cheaper for them, more expensive for us, or vice versa. So we're letting them pick deductibles, because in the packages, you could see some are paying $700, some are paying 8-something, or we're paying $700, and then there's one person, we pay $2,500 a month for their insurance. So everyone's picking different stuff. We're also paying 80/20. I mean, I don't know if that's realistic nowadays. Their deductibles are very low. I think some specialists are $20. I know my insurance, my own personal one is $40 to see a specialist. They have a plan that's $100 deductible for emergency room, mine is $250. So we have to meet in the middle somewhere where we're not going broke and they're not going broke. I mean, it's great to have that big selection, but as a company, it's confusing to be paying all these different rates. I don't, Limerick, is that the proper name of it?
That's
Just
the
because the
acronym.
libraries use it, it doesn't mean it's the cheapest one. Do you guys do something special for?
We just have 2 full-time employees, so we're the only ones that get health insurance, but we had a similar situation with our retirement plan, and we just switched to John Hancock just because the previous one was
So you have to shop around.
and that was the one we were kind of grandfathered in. And I talked to our board, I said, just because we're grandfathered in, we have to go by it. We could go on our own, that's what we did, it's cheaper and customer service is a whole lot better.
Well, Lane, I'll give you a second, but keep in mind that Limerick's job is to shop around for us. There's that, and then,
They literally just switched us from Blue Cross Blue Shield to Aetna because they shopped around and found better deals.
so it's already changing for this upcoming year?
No, this was past, this happened
Oh,
a year or
okay.
two ago.
And then the only other thing to keep in mind is that if we were, to leave Limerick, if we found something cheaper, awesome, but if we ever, like, now they went their rates up and now we wanna go back to Limerick, they may not take us back. Because the reason, and tell me if I'm wrong, because we only have so many employees, we are grouped in with other employees so that now we are more, not sellable, but like,
We're
you
part
know,
of
we
a
get us a
bigger
better rate
pool.
because, hey, we have 50 employees as opposed to us alone, where it's 12 of us.
May I add something?
Yeah,
Okay, if you only want to offer, we have the choice of what we offer, HMO, PPO, et cetera. If you only want to offer well, we only have one HMO and just one PPO, we could do that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, like, instead of 4
We have-
choices
We
then.
have that option, if the board wants to only offer one PPO and one HMO, we could do that. So, if that's the route we want to go.
And then the $20,000
$30,000 life insurance is $30,000, but we don't pay extra for that. Right, it just got,
They,
like inflation,
they go out to market all the time on the different plans, the vision plan, the medical, the dental, the life insurance, and even our, employee assistance program. They go out to market and they do their market analysis, and they get other companies and see what the rates are. And like Leighton mentioned, for medical, we were Blue Cross Blue Shield for a very long time, but they raised the rates. And they went out to market and they marketed reached out to a couple of vendors, and that was lower with the same type of benefits. So nobody lost the type of coverage benefits, but the premium was gonna be a lot less than Blue Cross Blue Shield, so that's why we switched. So they will go
that's why I
out.
think they had the $750 probably is where we pay more and they pay less.
$750 is.
Right? Is that
That's
the out of pocket?
That's just a deductible. That means they would have to meet, it's a higher premium for them to pay because you have to meet the $750 deductible before they start paying on any new claim.
But I mean, the $1,500 is even more.
The $1,500, that's the deductible.
But they pay more out of pocket, but we pay more for their monthly.
No, the
For the
$1,500
lower
plan is a cheaper plan because they have to meet that $1,500.
Wait, but I'm saying if they pick the $750, then that's when it costs us more.
Yeah.
Correct, because it's
Because it's
a lower
lower
deductible they
deductible.
have to meet.
So the insurance company isn't gonna get as much money. Like,
And then, again, it all depends, you have a lot of flexibility with this plan, because you could choose what you want to offer. And if you want to change the allocation of what the library pays and what the employee pays, you could do that as well.
Yes, the thing to keep in mind is if we leave Limerick, we may not necessarily be able to get TAP in again. So in the long run, it has been the best.
oh, yeah, then definitely I would wanna leave
If-
that
if it's
if
like-
the employees can't get back in. But I think there's been different options. Maybe if Joanne could bring us the,
Yeah, so we can revise,
to revise
stay with the
the
Limerick.
price difference and just have maybe an HMO and PPO.
Mhm.
We pick one of those and get the different prices of whether it's deductibles. I don't know if they give you that choice when you shop around for like a company. I know for short term they do, like if you want the deductible this or you want dental, you
Give
don't
me
want
choice
dental.
to choose what deductible we offer and stuff like that.
Well, again, there's 2 PPO plans that we offer, so do you want to offer just the PPO with the $750?
Well, it says on the bottom we offer 3 PPOs.
No, we only offer,
This is
Okay, let's do it.
we only offer 3 plans for our employees.
Oh, with this email, it says currently we offer 4 medical plans, including an HMO and 3 PPOs.
Okay, but we don't. Other libraries do.
That might have been the section that Joanne was forwarding, that was an email from the Limerick representative.
Right, Limerick offers,
Okay, it didn't say it was 4, I'm sorry, it just says.
Limerick offers us, the 3 PPOs, but we decided only to offer 2 PPOs and 1 HMO.
Okay.
So our Stickney, other libraries that are within the Limerick might offer all 4.
Okay, so what do we offer right now?
We offer an HMO, we offer 2 PPOs, one $750 and one $1,500. $15,000.
So what's the difference in the premium for the
The difference is,
PPOs?
okay, so for instance, if we're talking about the PPOs, for employee only for the $750 plan, the total cost is $879 monthly. For the PPO 1,500 plan, for employee only, the total cost is $736. So that's the difference between.
It's about $107.
But then that's not quite true, because if an employee and children, an employee and family,
But
we're paying $2,500
I
for
said
something.
employee only.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
She gave us one for,
But,
because Sylvia was asking the difference between the 2 deductibles. So Joanne was choosing just one to show the difference.
but it's not just those 3, because then there's 4 tiers in the PPO.
Well, you have to offer 4 tiers. we can't go around it, you have to offer 4 tiers.
But the 4 tiers, do they change with the deductibles then?
No, the deductible, if you choose the 750 plan, that's the 750 plan. If you choose the 1500 plan, that's the 1500 plan, but there's gonna be the 4 tiers. There has to be 4 tiers. You have to offer employee only, employee spouse.
Well,
employee
how does one
children.
insurance, we're paying $700 a month for our employee, then $800, and then $2,500?
If they're a
What's
family.
the difference?
Well, it depends on what they elect, because somebody may be single, or doesn't need, is gonna take employee only. Somebody may be married and want to take down the coverage. Somebody may.
That's what I mean, so with the $750 and the $1,500 though, what's the difference with the employee and spouse or employee and children?
Okay, so for employee and spouse, the 750 plan is 1860. For the employee and spouse, for the $1,500 plan is 1552. For employee and children, just for the employee and any children, 750 plan is $1,784. For the 1500 plan for employee and children is $1,491. For family coverage for 750, $2,759. For family coverage for 1500, the $1,500 plan for PPO, $2,304. And I emailed this to everybody, so everybody should have a copy of this.
I never got that.
No, I think emailed it.
Yeah, please, you too.
Me too.
Oh,
Natasha.
I'll just email it to everybody.
Okay.
I don't remember seeing.
All right, so it's the family plan, it just increases the amount of it.
Right.
So what we can offer instead of the PPO 750 deductible, we can offer PPO $1,500 deductible.
Yeah. And
and
HMO.
Tiffany, can you confirm that we don't, are there, I just wanna make sure we don't violate any like HIPAA laws, and I don't exactly know how those work. Like us reviewing like who has what, and,
Yeah, I don't think I said the name.
I mean, plan-wise, you know, who has what plan, that's not getting into HIPAA laws, because what HIPAA protects is the actual content of your medical records.
oh,
So, and like your billing would actually be protected by HIPAA in the sense of like, because your, you know, medical billing will typically say like radiograph, CT scan, something like that. So like that type of thing, that would be subject to HIPAA. You couldn't disclose those things. And, you know, the actual content of the medical records, and then of course any discussions based upon somebody's specific health
In
conditions.
this day and age, you
But-
get $1,500.
But you're also, we're not medical providers.
yeah.
The board is not a medical provider, so I don't believe that HIPAA actually applies here.
Okay.
However, it is always best practice not to discuss, you know, those things as it relates to somebody's private medical information. There's other exemptions that may apply. So, you know, being that you're not a provider, there's different standards. So, I mean, HIPAA is a very, very long law.
Yeah.
And it's mostly applicable to the medical care providers. That said, you know, I would still encourage you guys not to disclose anything related to somebody's specific medical issues.
Oh, thank you.
So I would, maybe we stay with Limerick and just offer the 2 plans maybe?
Well, that was the only thing I was gonna mention
Maybe
before.
Joanne could break it down when she emails us, and then we could decide.
Are you gonna show something?
Oh, you wanna
Like, how much are we paying for dental, vision?
That's all, that's in it, that's in
It's
it.
all in there, the packet? Okay, that's what I'm looking, maybe it might went to spam too.
Okay, Leighton, you're gonna say something?
I just wanted to say, the only thing I wanted to mention was that it would be better for the library to do whatever, like what Joanne was just saying, to do any adjustments we want to make within Limerick.
Okay,
Change percentages, change things we offer, but doing it within Limerick than to try to get out of Limerick.
I don't want to get
I
out of
think,
it.
I think trying to shop outside of Limerick is a fool's errand. We can cut costs by changing percentages.
I'll shop for medical, I'll
Correct.
shop for, all separately, medical, dental, life insurance, vision care.
Right.
And then I'll have to look for EAP providers, because we need employees.
No, I don't think we should either. No.
okay. Yeah, that's why I didn't wanna send you like on a wild goose chase. I was like, hold on, let me let's make sure we know what we're sending you shopping for.
And then this was from, on the Rails website, the Rails Library website, they've got these things called fast fact surveys where people can post surveys and other libraries give their information. And so, I mean, there's a wide variety of what different libraries do. Some do, 80-20 splits, some do 75-25 splits. We've, whatever you guys want to do, libraries are doing the whole spectrum. It's not like everyone's doing 90-20 or 80-20, whatever. I mean, we can tweak that, but.
What splits are we doing now?
Or 80-20, I think.
Yeah.
If we are doing employee, if they pick employee only, it's 80% the library, 20% employee. If they pick family, spouse, or children's coverage, the library pays 75% and the employee pays 25%.
Yeah. And then part-time, 60% for the employee and 55% for family.
Oh, okay. So we don't pay 80 for everybody.
No.
Okay.
And that part-time is only 30 hours.
30 hours.
Yeah, so it's not like the 19
Currently,
hours.
right now, we don't have any part-timers in the 30-hour range.
Okay.
Okay, so what do we want to make Joanne do?
No, we're gonna stay in Limerick.
Okay, so we're staying with Limerick, but,
I think we should think about it and put it on for the next one, so we can all get the email from her with the breakdown, to look if we wanna adjust the 75-25, or adjust the dental, or leave it the same, maybe it's not a big difference, sometimes it's $1.50 or.
Yeah, it's
Why
not,
push that on
I don't think you're gonna
employees?
find that it's a big difference.
okay,
Yeah.
so Joanne, I know you emailed us, it's August 30th, if anyone wants to write it down, August 30th, you emailed us. And I know some of it was like copy and paste from Limerick. Can you just clean it up a little bit and just say specifically, we offered these three, and then how it says full-time is 80%, part-time is 60%, like, can you just outline, like, how specifically it applies to what we currently have?
And does this break down whether it's dental and vision? I don't think it breaks down into
I
that.
think it's all together, right?
Yeah.
Like they're,
No, it's broken down by.
oh, perfect, you can email us that, okay, oh, just kidding.
Now, do we have a choice to say like we will cover dental?
It's a bundle package.
Okay,
I don't think you can't, I don't think you can break it out.
But you can change the percentages,
Yes.
right? That's,
Now, what percentages?
like now we're paying 80-20.
Yeah, we can change that.
So if we wanna change that, but you're saying you can't, like say.
You can't take out vision or dental, no. We can't fool around with that.
And I don't think those are really
No,
high,
I
but
don't think you're that high to do that to the employees at all. I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, no, you can't fiddle with the packages, but you can fiddle with whether you
It's
want to do.
like you got Comcast at your house, really.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's
You
your
got it.
bundle, now
You got it. You
It's
can
your
fiddle,
bundle.
we could fiddle with whether we want $700 deductible or $1,500 deductible, and we can fiddle with percentages.
how much
We
we are
can't
paying,
fiddle
how
with
much
in
they're
the
paying.
package.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get the food channel and the sports channel,
And that's
whether
it.
you want them or not.
All right, is there a motion to table the insurance discussion until next month?
Okay.
I mean, is there, what?
Well.
Yeah, we're not, wait,
How much the changes for 2024?
Oh, yeah, so I think
2023 is already,
happening.
is happening.
yeah, but you should be able to still make changes inside the plan. You're not going outside the company.
No.
No, usually when the
It's
plan,
still-
when you start your plan here, you can't make changes.
Yeah,
You've already started your plan here, you can't.
we're doing now for 2023, it starts in January. My timeframe is.
So it has to be passed on the next one, October, for sure. because
No.
open enrollment should be-
Open enrollment's gonna start in October.
Right, that would be enough time for the employees to decide.
If you're gonna change percentages, I need to know, by
Today.
Friday.
Oh. Well, then, I mean.
Well, then if we have to do it today, I would say offer HMO, PPO 1,500. Forget about the 750. That's my opinion. Anyone else have any thoughts? Maybe you want to pass the chart around quickly, or?
The other thing too is, we could discuss it longer,
That's
and then we could do this make the changes for the upcoming year, not 2020.
Right, I
pay out $1,500.
It's only one person.
Because remember, they gotta meet, they gotta, out of their own pocket, pay $1,500 before the insurance pays anything.
Well, I mean, realistically, that's why I've been asking for it.
It's only one person is 750.
Well,
I have the bill over here.
I sent it to you a while back ago, all of that information, when you initially asked.
That's what,
me.
here, I have this right here, you never mentioned any date, but I've been
No,
going
that,
back 2 months with
that's
this.
super that's being passed around, that was sent, I sent that to you.
Well, it's useless, Stavros, if we're not gonna decide, but that's why,
Well, that was my opinion, if you guys want to decide, like,
It's
you
one
can speak up.
person, it's only one person that gets the $750.
No,
Yes.
we got several people who are in 750, and the aggregate numbers I can tell you right now, okay, right now we have,
I'm going by this bill that I just signed.
we have 5 people in HMO, we have 3 people in the high, the $1,500 high plan PPO, and, actually, no, we only got one currently right now in the low PPO. So, yeah, we still need one.
There's only one person in the subdivision.
I don't know who it is,
There's
but
only one, yeah, it was just the one.
And Debbie, don't forget
Oh,
that 80/20 applies to a single person. When you have a different, what did you say, 75/25 for people with their family? So if they are having a family, then we are paying we're paying only 75%, not 80%.
So if you want to decide right now, so I could get this all situated.
Well, if it's only one person, then maybe we'll leave it for this year.
Oh, okay, what are your thoughts, opinions?
If it's only one person, I'll leave it for this year.
You will leave what, as is for this year?
Yes.
Leave it as is, or what's your opinion?
I think it's almost rather than rush.
what else
So
again?
no rush, so leave it as is for
plans.
this year?
Is that for me or go pass
Okay.
on?
Yes.
Natasha, your opinion, your thoughts, feelings? Will you do this? Would you like to make a decision? Would you like to leave it as is? What are your thoughts?
You're saying only one person, yeah.
I'll say I'd leave it.
Leave it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so no changes for this year.
But we're gonna look at for next year, we'll look at some changes.
yes, definitely, just leave it alone instead of rushing and
Okay.
we'll worry about
And
it.
especially since we haven't done anything with their salaries yet, that would be a double for them right
And it's
now.
only
Yeah.
one person, so.
It's one person, yeah, it's an ongoing.
Alright, so is there a motion to table the library insurance discussion?
Also,
Wait, why are we tabling it?
We don't have to even take action on it, it's a discussion,
Just kidding.
right?
Yeah,
What'd you
wait.
say?
I mean, I don't think
Well,
so.
you said, I'm just kidding.
We only,
Well, it says that action may be taken on any of the following.
Well,
It doesn't hurt to
We're
table
not-
it.
Oh,
That does, I mean, because if you guys are gonna continue talking about it throughout, when you Well, we're table not it, for what another tabling year. technically means is that it's supposed to continue to appear on the agenda, unless you table it to a date certain. So you could table it for 6 months, for you guys to then revisit it 6 months from now.
we'll just revisit it.
So, I mean, there's multiple ways to skin that cat.
Okay, just leave it. Alright.
Maybe someone will start giving away free health insurance, and then we'll want to tell Limerick, we don't want to table it for 6 months.
Yeah.
New insurance is gonna appear.
So nuts.
You never know, March
You
is a
never
that
know.
woman's that can't be back with $1
Absolutely
million
never know.
somehow. We're getting $1 million.
Yes,
You never
okay.
know.
Okay, dreamer that you are.
Wishful thinking.
Alright, the phone internet service discussion. So I think this was about bundling or not. What do you want to talk
Didn't Nathan
about?
explain that already?
Yeah, kind of. Anyone have questions on it? I think the resolution to that is, most of everything can be bundled, and some of the stuff we have grants for, so whether it costs $1 or $1,000, it's a grant. So it's not something they pay whatever it is.
Yeah, did we get an email explaining all this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
We're
guys
not aware
wanted
that there's
it on
a
the
grant
agenda,
for that
so-
stuff.
Okay, just want to make sure, if anyone have questions, comments?
you have any questions?
All right. Approval of staff travel expenditures. What's it?
Expenditures.
Expenditures. There you
That's the word.
go. Expenditures.
That is a total this month of $119.39.
Do you need a motion?
Yep.
I make a motion.
Okay, I'll second it. All right, Debbie?
Yes.
Edgar?
Yes.
Natasha?
Yes.
Sylvia?
Oh, yes.
Marge, yes. Rosa?
Yes. All right, next item is the lawyer invitation discussion. Okay, so the lawyer was invited to the last meeting and this meeting. Who were the two people who invited Tiffany to the last meeting?
Sam, Natasha, and myself.
Sam, Natasha, and Deb, and then this meeting was Cindy?
Natasha,
Me.
myself.
Okay, so the only reason this is a topic is because we passed a policy that said that anything for the lawyer should go through Layton or myself. Unless you feel there's a reason that you cannot go through us, then you guys are welcome to have two people to contact the lawyer. And so is there any reason you feel that you could not have gone to Layton or myself to request a lawyer?
Yes, because I continually kept asking you guys for the schedules, I asked Layton for something else, and I wasn't getting much cooperation. So that's why I wanted Tiffany here. And I wanted Tiffany here tonight because, I don't know, you guys were saying she gave us some misinformation last time, and it was on a topic to be discussed, so, it also goes with G, why I wanted Tiffany here. And I know how standoffish Layton has been in the past, and.
Excuse me?
You're standoffish with me,
I-
against HR source, with the schedules, requesting the schedules, saying he's got legal advice, giving me phone numbers of people to call, that a number's disconnected, giving me a name of a woman that won't speak to me. So that's why Tiffany's here tonight.
Okay.
So that's the explanation. I had another trustee agree with me.
But could that have gone through me?
No, because I also have where you, excuse me, where your emails are back and forth saying that Danielle mentioned about the HR source and that you guys already could talk to them, so this is also from you, so you were not helping me with it either. So that's why I brought it to the trustee's attention. So no, I did not feel that I could, that you were going to authorize me to contact Tiffany, or that you were gonna try to help me with it, because I have asked you in the past. Getting people's schedules is foiable. HR source is not a lawyer of ours. Just like the audit company, we can't now, we already voted on who we picked for the audit. We can't go back to the seekage. You can't just pick who you wanna use for things. This board voted on Delgado being the law firm, taking legal advice, and Layton is quoting HR source as a legal person, and you also, against his judgment and with his legal advice, continue.
Which I stand by,
You stand by,
which I stand by.
but they don't represent this board. We don't have any client relationship with them.
Technically, the lawyer doesn't represent me either.
Correct.
Yeah,
Represents all of us,
yeah, the board.
but HR source does not.
HR Source is a company that I am consulting with.
No, it's a legal, then are you paying for it? Are you paying for HR
We,
source?
we are paying, the library pays it as a consulting service.
When they give you misinformation.
They did
this
not give me
board has
misinformation.
No recourse, it's not our lawyer. They will not even get on the phone to answer a question. Layton told me that I cannot have the schedules, that it is a violation of privacy for the employees because they may get stalked. So he wouldn't give me the names with the employees because they may get stalked. I FOIA'd there, I can't find any reports of stalking or harassment of employees for 3.5 years so far. So I wanted to confirm with HR Source, this lawyer that told Layton not to release that to a board trustee, not a stranger, not a resident off the street. A board trustee is not allowed to have a schedule and know who's in the library or when they work or what their hours are. I don't know if they're fearful for me. I have never stalked anyone in 51 years, nor do I want to, or will I. To have a piece of paper,
he said, come in the library and look at it. Why do I have to come in the library and look at a computer to see what I want to see? I hold a lot of confidential things here. Their salaries, how many years they've been here, their first name, their last name, their insurance, what insurance they pay. Why can't I know their schedule? This has been going on since the day I got on the board, June, July, August. And now for August, he finally reluctantly, against his legal advice, I believe is verbatim.
Oh,
what you're
verbatim,
now.
verbatim. And against my personal judgment as a director.
So here's the issue. He didn't say you could not have it. There's no problem with him having a concern that it may lead to the paper getting lost and it ending up in the wrong hands. He's not saying you cannot see it, and he's not saying that it's happened before, and he's not saying that it couldn't happen, right? We all lock our doors at night, regardless of if there's ever been a break-in, because it could happen.
You know what else could happen, Rosa? We meet on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. We could have somebody hate us and come here and shoot us, and it's on a regular schedule. Besides today, because you were late with the budget and appropriation thing. We meet same Wednesday, 6 o'clock, get outside our car. Probably everyone knows Marge picks up Sylvia, they park where they park and walk here. I come here, I come in the same door, I could get stalked just as easily. What difference does it make?
Well, that's part of the Open Meetings Act, actually, so.
If we could prevent it, I'm sure we would, but the fact that we have to have this open and in public and published.
But
Those schedules, like
they
everything,
work
the
in
salary.
public too.
That's,
They work in
the schedules
public.
are
It's
subject to
FOIA.
FOIA. It
It's
is subject to
FOIA.
FOIA. There is no exemption under FOIA for employee schedules. I can FOIA employee schedules, employee salaries. The only thing I can't get is their personal information. I can't get their home phone number, their home address, or their personal email address. But their schedules, it's subject to FOIA.
So that was misinformation from HR source, who I could not call to confirm. One, because the number was disconnected that I was given by Lee. Two, the name was, he wasn't sure if he spelled it right, but when I asked her to call me back, instead she tried to call Leighton. But funny thing, she talked to Danielle and told Danielle that a board trustee called me and I can't talk to them. So why is she talking to Danielle about my business? Danielle gave you the message, because you said Danielle mentioned that I was trying to reach it, and that I can't be, they won't speak to me. They will only speak to Leighton. So what good is that to us? What is HR source legal advice that's not our lawyer good to us, and now I just proved they have misinformation? So what recourse do we have?
I'm sorry, is that a question for me?
When it ends with what recourse do we have? Yes, that's a question.
Well, it could have been a rhetorical question also, so I just want to make sure.
Yes.
So I disagree. HR Source is a consulting service that I have contracted with to provide me with HR and legal information.
Why are we going
I'm
outside?
sorry, I'm speaking now.
Okay.
You demand respect and you hate when people interrupt you, so please show me the same respect. Please show me the same respect. Thank you. Thank you. So, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, I'm sorry. When it comes to the safety of my staff, I've never accused you of stalking. I've never said any member of staff has been stalked. But the fact of the matter is, we have concerns that if the schedule of our staff gets out, that somebody could find it and attempt to stalk our staff. Now, we've never had an active shooter in the library. Does the board want me to cancel our active shooter training that we have scheduled? Because it's never happened at the library, so I can cancel that if you want me to. I have concerns for my staff. You were welcome to come in and look at the schedule. I wasn't depriving you of the schedule. I was concerned that if you had it on a piece of paper and you went to put it in your pocket and maybe it fell out on the street, someone might have found it and said, oh, look, here's where the schedule of the people. I'm sorry, are you huffing at me?
No, that was a smile.
That was a laugh. That was a laugh. That was a laugh.
That was more than
No,
just
no, 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 no.
a lifetime movie.
That was a laugh. That was a laugh. So thank you for demonstrating the type of respect that people on the board are supposed to have with each other.
Okay, so let's
So-
stay professional.
So as I was
What
stating,
is
my
our
concerns,
HR source?
my concern is I work with HR Source for HR related matters. They provide training, they provide HR guidance, they provide legal advice. So that is my resource.
The question was,
That
what
is
our
my,
recourse as a board for a lawyer?
you've got your lawyer.
This is not my lawyer, this is our board lawyer.
Right.
That the board
I'm sorry,
has.
I meant the royal you. This is your board. This is your lawyer. As a board, this is your lawyer. I didn't mean you specifically, Deborah
Okay.
Johnson. I'm sorry.
Again, everyone voted when they were, as a board, I was not present for
Right.
Valdo to represent the board.
Right.
I don't recall seeing in all the packets that you gave me that HR source was voted on being legal advice.
It wasn't.
But yet you're quoting that you have legal advice
Yes.
from them. So how are we doing this, Rosa? Everyone could just go get free legal advice and bring it back for something that's foiable? They're telling them it's not, it's illegal, so that's not good lawyer advice? So what do we do with this situation?
So Tiffany, in your opinion, what is the best way to handle meeting the employees' hours?
I'm sorry,
Schedules.
the best way to handle the schedules?
Yeah, like providing it to them.
Well, I think if a board member requests it, any request that's received from a board member should be treated as soon as it's received as both a request from a board member as well as a FOIA. So you should be following the same protocols. Because with a FOIA, you don't actually have to identify that I'm filing a FOIA. All you
I
have
know.
to do is submit the request. So I think they should all be treated as FOIAs. And under FOIA, in my opinion, after reading the act many, many, many times, processing many FOIAs for many clients, and essentially acting almost as a de facto FOIA officer for many of my clients, it is my opinion that the schedules are subject to FOIA. Now, from an HR perspective, sure, maybe they're saying from an HR perspective, you shouldn't be giving these up. But that's why, this is somewhat problematic, that they may be experts in HR issues. They are not per se experts in Illinois issues. And the reason I say that is because they may not know everything about FOIA, the Open Meetings Act, the Illinois Library District Act, or things like that. They're looking at it from a purely HR perspective. I did do some research on the company, as I know that there's been some discussions back and forth on this company. And from what I read, their specialty, obviously from their name, is HR, human resources. So they're looking at it from a purely employment perspective. The other thing I wanted to point out is, I haven't seen a copy of the agreement with them, so I don't know what sort of attorney-client privilege there is. But, yes, you can consult with them, but them giving you advice, unless there's an attorney-client relationship and a privilege, that's not insured advice. If they give you bad advice and they commit malpractice giving you bad advice, you have no recourse with them because you don't have an attorney-client relationship technically. So you have to see whether there is an attorney-client relationship, number one. And number two, if there is one, arguably if there is one, the attorney-client relationship is with the district, not with any specific individual, whether it's Layton, Joanne, Rosa. You can identify certain people in the agreement, and that would be something that would, in my opinion, have to be voted on by the board, to identify certain people who may contact the lawyer, just like you guys did in your board policy. So I'm not sure, because I haven't seen the agreement, whether there is any sort of attorney-client relationship. Just from my read on their website and understanding of what they do, I don't believe that there is a true attorney-client relationship.
Okay, and last question for you. If we were to get a FOIA request for employees' hours, should we, or are we supposed to, how do we handle, is it like give them their full name, like do we give them the whole thing? Or do we put like employee one, or do we put like initials?
No, you have to
Like-
give their name. You have to give, just like if I file a FOIA and ask for the salaries of every single employee in this district, you have to give me their names and their salaries. You don't have to give me their address, you don't have to give me their phone number, you don't have to give anything else, you do have to give their names. I'm not aware of any exemption under the Freedom of Information Act.
Okay.
And I've looked at multiple opinions. I've looked at I've looked at the act multiple times. In fact, if you just word search the act, in fact, I'll do it right now, just to show. Because when I did it before, I didn't see anything regarding schedules. And again, I have processed hundreds of FOIAs for clients
Where are you looking at?
on the Freedom of Information Act itself.
Okay.
Go to the source. Is the best way to analyze these things. And I'll tell you quite candidly, when I get a FOIA for a client, I may know the act backwards and forwards in many senses, I still pull up the act to double check things. Just like when I'm doing election work, I pull up the act and double check things.
Okay, question. As $100 out of your pocket. Can he say, just to come in and look at it on the computer as opposed to walking out with a piece of paper?
It depends on how the person requested it. So, you know, again, I think that any request that's received, whether it's from a board member or a member of the public, should be treated as a FOIA. And if I request under FOIA, if I say I want electronic copies of something, you have to give me electronic copies. You can't say that, especially if it's stored in an electronic manner, you have to give me electronic copies. If it's stored in a paper manner, there's a little bit more of an argument that you have to come in and get physical copies. But if I request a copy of something, then I need to be given a copy of something. If I request the ability to come in and view something, then I need to be given that opportunity. There's times when public entities will get these, what we call voluminous requests, and there's a whole section in the code that deals with voluminous requests, where people will literally request thousands upon thousands of pages of documents. The burden that it places on small governmental entities like this is substantial. And so in those cases, we will sometimes try to contact the requester and say, listen, number one, we're going to categorize your request as voluminous. We're also going to categorize it as unduly burdensome. However, if you can narrow the scope of your request, or if you'd like to come in and personally view these documents so we don't have to go through the expense of copying and go through the expense of having our personnel do all the work that needs to be done to them, then you could do that. So really, very long answer. The short answer to your question is, it depends on how they need the request. If they request copies, you got to give them copies. If they request to view, you got to allow them to come in and view.
Because we did have a closed session set of minutes disappear.
Well, closed session minutes should never, closed session minutes are different. Closed session minutes, there's a specific section. Well, hold on, you brought that up because I just want to make sure that you guys know this. Closed session minutes, that's under the Open Meetings Act, closed session minutes need to remain on site. And also under FOIA, closed session minutes are exempt. So closed session minutes should not be given out under a FOIA. The only time closed session minutes should be released is if they've been approved for release via the closed session minutes review that's required under the Open Meetings Act, which you have to do semi-annually, or if they're released by court order. Otherwise, closed session minutes should stay on site, should not leave the district.
Well, what I was showing is we did have one walk.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there's no scrupulous people at times.
That it happens is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So why
I asked
to
for,
back up.
I asked for the schedule, but, I'm realizing it's very fictitious. Just because, for instance, on Labor Day, we were closed and it's a holiday, except for 4 employees were working in the circulation department. There's people that have ending times, no beginning times. And it's more like a fictitious thing that somebody's making up on a spreadsheet. Because then if there's 9 or 10 people that are supposed to be here, I come here, there's only 4 people that I could possibly find, and then suddenly one's out sick, and one has outreach, and one has, that's all I was trying to ask, like, is where is everybody? I know you missed the last meeting, unfortunately, but I had broken it down. When we turn the key at 9 a.m., there's 10 employees here on a Monday or Tuesday morning. But yet, all the people at night are doing all the shelving and the cleaning up, and that's all I'm trying to say is, if we need more employees, I hope we do. I hope the library floods with kids and teens and tweens and everybody. I hope we need more employees, but at this point, for the level of traffic that we have that I have seen when I'm in here, it's a lot of employees at a time, a lot of employees. And then when you come here, you don't see them. I don't know if they're on break or when I conveniently come, they're on outreach, they're somewhere else, they're in an office upstairs, I'm not sure. But sometimes there's 13 employees here with no programs going on, not a one, not a morning, noon, or night, that's on the calendar, it's on the website. So that's all I'm just trying to figure out. If we need more employees, by all means, we should get them, if the demand is here. And I hope one day the demand is here. Right now, it doesn't seem to be.
But just keep in mind, and I totally get where you're coming from, but keep in mind, like, if we have 13 employees on a Monday, I assume it's to prepare for all the activities for the week, and, we have all the crafts during the meeting. Someone needs to pre-measure the stuff for slime and all, it takes, just because there's no programs on that Monday, doesn't mean they're not doing anything.
I'm not saying that they're not doing anything, but every time we try to ask ladies what their duties are, Sam was still waiting before the employee left, we still couldn't get a list of the duties. When you ask what's going on, what are they doing, what's happening, it's the same, every person has the same exact job. Everyone's shelving a book, everybody's cleaning up. I'm not saying nobody's doing anything here, I never said that. I know someone has to go, well, we know Danielle has to go pick up bikes and pay for them on her own credit card. We know Ron has to pay for flowers on his own credit card. We know employees are doing something, we're just saying what? Like, that's what we just wanna know. Some of the crafts that I've seen, doesn't look like they need to be prepared for a week, you know? Now it looks like there's some fun, cool stuff coming up. Maybe it does take 2 people. Maybe outreach does take 2 people when they go read a story time and there is 30 kids there. Not against that either. But when you come in the library and you can only find 4 people and there's no programs and nothing's going on or they're canceled. Project Care was already canceled for a month before I came here. I said, where's Project Care? They've been at St. Pius for a whole month. It was on the calendar every single week. So I'm just trying to figure out. We need more people, not against it. But right now, it doesn't seem like it. I think even with Mark leaving, his jobs could be redistributed, what he was doing. I mean, the signage, you're saying it's hard. Maybe the letters in there are fragile, I'm not sure. But when I saw him doing it, he just had the thing flipped up and was hanging the letters on there. So we don't know what else he did, because every time we asked you, you dodged us.
See, I apologize if this comes across as puffy, but your choice of words can be construed as being offensive.
Misconstrued.
In your opinion, misconstrued.
Yes.
You like to say things like, I dodged the question, which is not the case. I was busy doing my job, and I had informed Sam that once I had finished doing the job that had a specific deadline, that I would get to his request that did not have a specific deadline. I would have been happy to get that for him.
It was several weeks.
Okay.
Starting to.
I'm sorry.
I started to ask you, and then Sam had to FOIA it because I couldn't get the answers. We were asking you for duties, details. That's why I had to go to FOIA's right to the police department and the fire department. Remember you said the fire alarm was going off all the time and waking you up? Not one in 3.5 years. Not a police call, not a fire call. And when there was a problem here, the phone number that was listed at the police department was Ron's. Thank God Ron answered his phone that day to get a hold of Leighton. So, yeah, there is a little miscommunication, apparently. And that's, again, Rosa, this goes on back and forth, and that's why we have to try to call Tiffany so we can straighten something out. If I ask, and then she asks, and then we try to get Sam to ask, and then we still can't get an answer. It's like, it's a constant battle of a circle, and it shouldn't be like that. The board of trustees should be together, we should be for the employees. We gave Danielle some great ideas. She said, anytime you guys want to give me ideas, she loved them. We had a very great meeting last time with Danielle. She was very receptive to us and very open-minded. Unfortunately, I'm sorry you're defensive. Every time we try to ask you for something, the HR source, I think we should have Tiffany draft something that if anything comes back from HR source, that Layton's gonna be personally liable for any lawsuits, any actions, any misinformation, and maybe we could end it there, or maybe he should pay for HR source since it's only his lawyer. It's not our lawyer. We can't call them. We can't talk to them. You even instructed him to give me the name and number. So you told them to tell them to call me, to talk to me, and they still won't talk to me. So they will not talk to a board member. They won't talk to you. They won't talk to you, anybody.
But Debbie, I'll have to have my husband come in and tell you when we had to come in here during the night, so many nights.
Oh, no, I believe you
There's
did.
nobody here that's.
Oh, no, I believe you did, but I'm
I don't
saying.
think you believe me.
No, I believe
You
you.
did not believe me.
No, I said in 3.5 years, the last 3.5
It's
years.
been no longer than 3
I
years.
believe you did, because the alarm systems are so much more modern now that position wasn't really necessary. That's all I was saying. I believe you were woken up plenty of times, because those old ones were so sensitive, outdated. I'm sure they went off with a little mouse running across the floor. Now they're not. I waited 3.5 years, I could not find one.
Okay, so where we leave off for the lawyer invitation discussion, okay, I just want to let you know, you can go through Layton, you can go through me. If you feel you cannot go through Layton, you cannot go through me, you do need to have a second person approved. Just remember, you know, I'm part of the board too. If you have a question for the lawyer, I'm not gonna tell you no. Especially if I don't have the answer, contact the lawyer, that's fine. But I just don't want, you know, because of the policy, I don't want you guys to violate the policy and then you guys be responsible for the lawyer charges.
Well, I wanted you guys to explain to her what she said the wrong information was also, besides lawyer invitation discussion, which I pretty much knew what it was, that you wanted me to say on camera who the other trustee was that did it and why we called. And also you said that she gave some misinformation, so I'd like her to know exactly what misinformation she gave us.
Yes, so that one, but I'm sorry, Lee, were you gonna say
Oh,
something?
that's okay.
There was, we had a discussion about if we, had an issue with, if we needed to make, not make, I don't know the word.
Discharge, removal.
Discharge,
Remove
to remove a trustee.
from the board.
And then, Tiffany, I was gonna send you the updated bylaws, because there's a lot of changes that we were making. But the one about the discharging employees, when we looked it up, the Illinois.
Employees or?
Trustees.
Sorry, trustees, just
Trustees.
trustees. Sorry.
I mean, if I recall that discussion, I literally read section 30-25 into the record.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't see how reading the statute is incorrect advice. So I guess I need a little bit more explanation, because maybe there was misunderstood advice or miscommunication, because I gave advice based upon what the statute read. And my recollection had dealt with section 2.05, absences, and my note says review, can they expel trustees? And then I read from the statute, because as you guys were working on other things, I was doing some research and found section 30-25, which does state that absence without cause from all regular board meetings for a period of 1 year shall be a basis for declaring a vacancy. Whereas your current policy states that discharging an elected official or appointed trustee due to 3 unexcused absences over the course of a fiscal year is at the sole discretion of the library board of trustees. In my opinion, that conflicts with section 30-25 of the code.
At the meeting, you read section 30-52, trustees' failure or neglect to discharge duty penalty. Any trustee who, while acting as a trustee or as an officer, fails or neglects to discharge any duty imposed upon him or her by this act is guilty of a petty offense and shall be fined not less than $25 and not more for $100 for each offense. So at the meeting, you were referencing that section, saying that that was the recourse they had to fine a person.
Initially, and then I came back.
Okay.
If you watch the rest of the meeting,
Okay.
I came back about 15 minutes later when I had an opportunity to actually review the statute, because I was asked an off-the-cuff question.
Okay.
So, I mean, you need to realize that no attorney,
Mhm.
and I understand that there's been some statements that I am not a library attorney, which I find very offensive.
Mhm.
I have represented plenty of libraries, plenty of library districts. I've presented at ILA. I do library law. Maybe I don't do it as frequently as some other attorneys, but I do library law. So to me, that's a very offensive statement. That's number one. But when I'm asked an off-the-cuff question, I don't know every single section of the Library District Act. Just like I've been a municipal attorney for 20 years, I don't know every single section of the Illinois Municipal Code. Just like I've been an election attorney for 20 years, I don't know every single section of the election code. So when I'm asked a question, an off-the-cuff question at the board meeting, and I have my computer here and I'm able to research it, I'm going to give you what I believe to be the initial answer. And if I recall, I stated, well, from what I'm seeing here, and I can look into this more. So I don't understand how that's wrong advice, especially when I came back later and said, oh yes, by the way, because I literally have it written down here, 30-25. These are my notes from that day. And I have a very clear recollection of reading that into the record. So statements that I am not a library attorney or that I gave incorrect advice, I'll tell you personally, are very offensive to me.
Okay, I apologize, I know regardless, I was still gonna send it to you to just review and then.
Right, absolutely, and that's exactly what I want to do. I don't want to get involved in, the
Yeah.
political issues. I want to be able to do the work for you that you guys need. If anybody calls me with the 2 trustees and they need me to look into something or want me to come to a board meeting, and if I'm at a board meeting and I'm asked a question, this is why I bring my computer, so I can have the library district act sitting up here, so I can try to answer the question for you right away, rather than saying, let me get back to you on that.
Yeah.
But by no means was, in my opinion, that incorrect advice, because section 30-52 does allow for fining somebody for not performing their duties. Just like 30-25 allows somebody to be removed from office if they neglect their duties for a year, if they don't come to meetings for a year. And as stated, section 2.05 conflicts with that because it states 3 absences.
Yeah.
So that's where, that's what the law is.
Okay. Yeah, just know, I just tabled it, or I didn't send it to you yet because I still needed time to review it because I was rereading
Okay.
my notes and stuff. So, but I will have the whole bylaws printed out and we'll email you soon.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions on lawyer invitations or the lawyer itself? Okay, HR source discussions, is this over with?
So are we going to have Tiffany draw up a draft or something that Layton could be responsible for his own
I think we can
legal
just
bills there? Or I think Layton should not be getting legal advice from them.
so I think as a board, we can just decide now if we're gonna tell Layton not to use HR source, for legal advice. Keep in mind that if he has a question HR related, if we're telling him not to go to HR source, then he's going to Tiffany. HR source is essentially free because they're not charging us when we call them. We do pay for them for like their services. That's that men's remarkable is part of their package that we pay for. So do we want to instruct Layton not to call HR source and just if he's got any question, reach out to Tiffany? Or are we saying just not take legal advice?
Do we have
or
a contract from them or something in writing from them or?
HR source?
Yes.
Like,
Did you guys approve some sort of agreement? Like any sort of agreement, any sort of contract? Because my suggestion would be if you guys want me to possibly review the contract and see whether there's an attorney-client relationship. I think that's really the first question.
okay.
Whether there's an attorney-client relationship, because I think that's really what the concern is, because if they give you guys bad advice, you guys follow that advice, you have no recourse. Because you don't have an attorney-client relationship with them. You can try and argue that you do, and you'll have an uphill battle with that, like on a malpractice front. But, and so my suggestion would be to have me review the contract first to see, or even you look at it yourself and see what you think, and then you can call me and ask me what I think of that portion of the agreement. But I think it starts with the agreement.
Okay.
So that would be
do
my
we have one?
suggestion.
I don't know. Wait, do you know if we have one?
I'd have to research that and get back to
Okay,
you.
you can just research that. But in the meantime then, let's have you reach out to Tiffany if you have any questions. And then anything moving forward about this employee schedules. Can we at least limit not printing and let's email?
Want current schedules or what?
Yes, they were just emailed to me. They're not printed, they're just.
You got them?
Emailed to me. Well, I have some. With wrong information on it, people are scheduled on holidays and then people are missing, but yeah, whatever was available that Layton has, he sent it to me by email against his legal advice.
Yes,
Against his legal advice, HR source.
and judgment as director,
Pardon?
and personal judgment as director.
Oh, his personal, against his personal opinions and his legal advice from
judgment.
HR source, he reluctantly sent it to me.
Yes.
The lawyer, that's not ours.
Okay, so we're leaving off on, this whole employee schedules, emailing to, the board is not a problem, it could be quota. The only request is let's limit us personally trying to print it, just state the reason.
And if you don't want it, don't ask for it. If nobody else wants it, you don't have to send it to them. I asked Layton for it and it was emailed to me. That's reluctantly, but maybe you guys aren't interested in it. You might be interested sometimes when you see 13 people here at 10 a.m. with nothing going on for that whole entire day.
Well,
But
okay,
then you're saying there's nothing going on.
have you asked what's going on that day?
Yes, when I've been here. And then things are being canceled.
Okay.
And then it's always, they're preparing. If I've asked Danielle when I was upstairs with Joanne, they're preparing. Everyone's preparing, which is fine, but what are they preparing? Because then there were several things that got canceled on the weekend, and I understand things happen, or like was it yesterday the woman got canceled? That seemed interesting, what she was gonna do. I understand things get canceled, but that's what we're trying to figure out, what else are they doing? That's all. I'm not saying that nobody's working in this building. I'm saying, what are they working on? That's all. That was just a question. Like, when you see on the schedule 13 people here, but you only find 4 or 5, it's like, what's going on? Are they on an outreach program? Yes or no? You know, you can't get, now hopefully I think Danielle gave us a better schedule of when they're doing outreach, when they're not doing outreach, so that's helpful that you know.
Do you ever ask anybody what they're doing?
No, I really don't.
Well, why don't you do that sometime?
Maybe I
She
should.
like, maybe if you check with Sonia and see what she's doing, because she's off and she's.
Oh, she reads books on Facebook. She does a great job on her Facebook. She's reading books. I know that. She's a great promoter for the library.
But
She
she,
should be on our
wait,
library
wait,
page.
let me, could you let me
Yeah.
finish? Because
Yeah.
you interrupted me again.
Okay.
Okay, now Sonia, she reads books because sometimes she's looking for books for the reading club that she has. She's also looking for people for programming, for people to come in to do programs. And there's other things she's looking for she's answering questions for people. Ask her sometimes what she's doing. People that are not necessarily shoveling coal, but they're necessarily doing other things, other research projects for people. They're helping for people for things. Ask her sometimes what she's doing. She's also doing work on the face page. She's doing work on the other things that they're doing. She's recording a program on reading. She reads things. They're doing other things besides just shoveling coal.
Well, but according to the policy, we were told we weren't really supposed to be talking to the employees about their jobs, correct?
Oh, you can ask them what they do.
Well, we're not supposed to be on the day-to-day, in their day-to-day business and their operations for Layton.
Well, it is come down to the question, who's running the library? Who's the boss of the library?
But Sylvia's telling me to ask them. I would love to. I was instructed that we're not to worry about the day-to-day operations and talking to the staff.
I don't think that means you couldn't walk up to Sonia and ask her what she does. You could walk up to Ron and ask him, if you're so concerned about the daily happenings at the library, the people to ask are the people that are working there.
It's not so much the day-to-day operations, it's the staffing overall. Just wondering, did we need that many people? Since COVID, before COVID? I don't know, Edward, did you bring more people back or less people back at your place, or?
Yeah.
And how many?
After COVID,
Uh-huh.
less, we just adjusted, we got used to having less people with COVID, we just kept it.
And we've already hired more people.
We can't compare ourselves to other places, so.
Well, we're comparing our staffing level to like 11,100 people because we're using the census thing. You and I even agreed on that, Rosa, that was a little high number. And Danielle said it was to get grants, which is something we wouldn't have got grants if we didn't have the staff. Well, we're paying the staff, we're using the grant money to recycle to pay the staff, so that kind of doesn't make much sense.
This library has been running for years.
The fact that Layton's still, I came the other day and you're on the desk duties, like, that's not your job. We don't, like, that tells me there, like, we don't, not that we have, we're not overstaffed.
When I was covering the heat desk?
Are we calling people in, or was this on Saturday? Because Saturday we have the least amount of workers and probably the most programs. And I think Danielle said it was her whole department. Didn't she say at the meeting that closes on on Saturday, that works on Saturdays?
I don't understand what your problem is when this library has been going along for years.
I wanna see more programs and more people and more, I wanna walk in this library.
You can't drag people into the library, unfortunately.
You can with some programs and some stuff. I mean, just increasing those couple programs since June, since I've been here, I noticed there's more crafts and there's more attendance.
Well, that's because the COVID is lessening. I don't think it's that they're suddenly deciding to do it.
The
They were doing
COVID's
it
been
before.
disappearing for a while. This is the same staffing, the same crafts, the same everything. The only thing that changed was the emails saying, how many crafts are we doing? Why do we only have one craft? I've been emailing everybody and trying to see, why don't we call the staff in? Why do we only have 5 people working on a Saturday if we have 19 employees or 18 employees? Why aren't they crisscrossing over? Why don't we have peaks of all of our charts of when it's busy, when it's not busy? We only have 1,600 valid memberships here at the library right now, cards that are valid for our Stickney-Forest view, according to the report.
I thought we did, we've got more than
It's in your report, look it up.
It's in the report, in the book.
34.
Those are expired.
But keep in mind, people can come in without a library card. They can
Absolutely
come in
they can.
with a Berwin library card, and so just saying that we only have 1,600 patrons isn't 100% accurate. And I know.
Right, but 11,100 is a far stretch from 1,600 card holders.
But 11,000 is just the population.
No, that's his recommended staffing levels is what Leighton is hiring people. He's hiring people in the library based on the recommendation chart of us, our population being 11,100 and whatever it is.
But we're not at the max, and we're not in the minimum.
But if
of
you
those
took
numbers.
away 500 people, which either could have died since the census or moved since the census or don't want to come to the library ever because of COVID, those 500 less people makes a big difference in the staffing level.
But then we don't qualify for grants.
But you're using the grants to pay the staff that we should be utilizing them for more programs.
I think this, isn't it
I'm
grant outweigh the, sorry, what?
I just don't understand where this idea that grants pay for staff salaries comes from.
Well, you're wasting the taxpayers' money on more staff if they're not doing programs, and you're saying you're doing it just to generate income for grants in the
No,
library.
we're doing it because that's the recommended staffing level of the state of Illinois.
According to
for-
Danielle in your absence.
I'm sorry, I'm being interrupted again.
I'm just letting you know
Madam
before you
President.
finish.
Okay, hold on. Layton's got the floor. Layton's got the floor.
The population is from the census, and the state of Illinois makes recommendations on staffing based on the population. That population includes adults, includes children. I'm speculating, maybe some of those parents have cards for themselves, but not for their kids, but they can still come to the library. I can't explain to you why the number is less than it is. Obviously, that's something we strive to, but my job is to look at all 11,000 people in Stickney, in Forest View, and in Central Stickney, and represent all of them and work for all of their interests. And that means I need a staff to do that. And some of them might not be in the library when you show up. Other days when you're not here, there's lots of people in the library too. You were in one day and the youth department was hopping. I can't explain to you why some days are better than others, but I can tell you that I'm doing my job based on the state recommendations for staffing, not what, well, only a couple hundred people are here over the course of a month, so I'm just gonna get rid of half my staff. Because who knows, maybe then 6 months later, those other 3,000 people are gonna storm the doors and wanna come to the library. We've got 11,000 people that are living in our area. They're all taxpayers. They all deserve services, and I'm staffing the library at the recommended level to be able to provide all 11,000 of those people, residents of Stickney, Forest View, and Central Stickney, taxpayers, to be able to come to the library. And if they choose to, great. If they choose to stay at home and use a Wi-Fi hotspot to access the internet, to take classes, to better their lives, to do whatever they want to do from the comfort of their home, God bless them, I'm all for that. I'm not going to hold the information hostage and say, no, 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 no. You have to come here to get the information. I'm going to take programming to them. I'm going to get devices out to them. I'm going to go and give the taxpayers what they need, what they request. And I'm sorry if you come in some days and there are only a few people in the building, it's going to happen. I'm sure that your bar has days when people don't come in. You know, it happens. So I apologize, but I'm staffing based on the state recommendations.
I'm glad you said you were working for the taxpayers, and hopefully we won't see that tax hike again. Thank you.
What tax
Appreciate your
hike?
comments.
What tax hike? What tax
The
hike?
tax increase that we voted no to.
There was no tax,
That-
that was not a tax
Building and
increase.
maintenance.
And that was $5 a year per
$5
person.
is $5, that's in
Oh,
my
well,
opinion.
that's one
Do-
beer
do
at
you
your
want
bar.
me-
That's one beer at your bar.
Do you want me
I
to?
don't drink beer, but
Okay,
thank you.
we're not talking about the taxes. That's not on the agenda. Any more questions about the HR source discussion? The plumbing invoice discussion?
Yes. I was wondering why we went and called someone in Upwell Village, and the answer was it was probably an emergency. So I'm just wondering what the emergency was. Why we didn't see someone go pull someone right on Harlem Avenue, one in Berwyn, plenty of places, why we went to Upwell Village.
Okay, Leighton, can you just explain what happened with this toilet situation?
I wasn't here,
Oh, okay.
so no idea. There was a plumbing situation, there was an emergency. We apparently used a plumber that we have worked with in the past, I'm supposing. For the record, I'm supposing that prior, so that later on someone doesn't say, well, Leighton said this or Leighton said that. I'm making a supposition that it's someone we've worked with in the past, and so we hired them again.
Okay, well, I can recommend that we don't ever hire them again, because even at prevailing wages, it's $58 an hour, and he charged $150 per hour. So we paid $407 for one small part.
I will take that recommendation under consideration.
So I would recommend not using them, and use someone, and especially if it's an emergency, I don't think we should wait for someone to drive from Upper Village if it's an emergency.
Well, if it was a quick fix, why did it take them?
I just don't know why we didn't call someone local if it was,
Well,
and a quick fix is not 2 hours.
I mean,
And then we had to pay $30 for gas. So I'm not sure.
okay, so whether it's just someone based on reviews or someone based on someone we've used before, I already emailed Leighton, that we should strive to hire somebody local moving forward. Let me tell you something else. I'm really good at this. When possible, hire local. Any other questions or concerns on the plumbing issue? Okay, outreach program, liability insurance policy, and employee coverage. Is this just confirming that we have some?
Yeah.
Do we have the policy and who
Joanne,
all's covered with it?
can you feel better?
Yeah, we have, our liability insurance through the lumber group, and it covers the whole entire library, it covers, all of the building property, you know, if there's it does our workers' comp as well, so there's an accident, an employee accident, they cover workers' comp. So it's a wide umbrella of what was covered. We got cyber, we're covered through cyber insurance. We have cyber insurance covered.
Does it cover us like when we do these outreach programs, like something ever happened there?
As long as it's a sponsored library event or program,
Okay,
it's covered under our liability insurance.
okay.
Is there a reason why we didn't get a copy to look at? Can we get a copy? I mean, like, if you're a regular State Farm or something, you have to list every driver. Like, we should be, I'm wondering if we're covered, if we have to
We
list.
don't own the rights, we don't have a library.
No, she means like in a car insurance, it lists who's covered, like who's in my house drives my car.
Right, like.
So does our
who's
insurance
covered?
policy cover, does it just say anyone working, all employees for the library? No,
Yes, for the
okay, so
library.
it's not named specifically, it's just employees of the library? Okay.
But does it specifically state that when they're off-premise employees of the library, or?
It's all encompassed.
Being sponsored? Can you email us that when you can?
If
If
I
anyone's
may,
really-
if I may, you can ask for an opinion, not my opinion, the insurance company's opinion. You can ask them to give a statement of coverage, essentially asking them telling them the situation where you've got people going out on outreach programs to various places, sometimes driving their personal cars, I'm assuming always driving their personal cars, because
Yeah, we
the
don't.
library owns new vehicles?
Right.
Okay, so always driving their personal cars, and are they insured as a person, or is their vehicle insured? And is any other motorist or pedestrian or any other person covered under the insurance policy if, say,
During the
our
work
person,
hours.
during the course of their employment, blows a red light, you know, just to get an idea of like what the coverage is?
Yeah.
Because I think that's the question
Okay.
as to, you know, what level of coverage does the district have
Okay.
as it relates to these outreach programs? And I think that's a fair question, something that, you know, you guys should probably know, because you may want to add additional coverage.
Yeah, if we don't have it.
Okay, that's fair. Joanne, does that make sense? Yes. Okay. Any questions or anything else we need her to look at in regards to that? Okay, snow removal services discussion? What is it with you?
You asked me to put it on there. What was the question?
It was if you have the quotes, you said, wait, if you have the quotes and started working on it, put it on the agenda, if you don't have it, then you don't put it on there.
Well, we've used Everest for a few years now. We've got their renewal notice. We've had great service with them in the past. They sent us their latest renewal notice, which had 10% increases from last year's rates. I compared last year's rates to the previous year's rates. They were a 10% increase from that year. There's no reason why I feel like they've done anything to make me feel like we need to look around, so I was just gonna continue going with them.
In your opinion, they're not expensive, over budget, they're not?
No.
They come I think I've seen them, like they come in the middle of the night,
Yep.
put down salt.
If I may, I just remember even Marge was pointing it out, like when they were doing de-icing, we were charged a lot for that. Like salting of the sidewalks and stuff like that, do you remember that?
Well, because they would come like 2 or 3 times, I think.
Yeah,
And then we had said, if someone,
that's the only thing I remember bad about them, like it would be like humongous.
Because they charge for their service?
No, it was like, I don't know, 1 month it was like 3 or 4 times. I mean, I remember Marge was saying something like that.
okay, so that's just going up 10%.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel we should stay with them.
That's my opinion.
Okay, anyone feel a special way about snow removal services discussion, or services?
Well, we don't have anything to compare it to, wasn't the whole point of getting quotes to see what else is out there? I mean, how do we know that's a good price, 10% increase?
Okay, so you do want him to go out shopping for quotes, how many quotes are we requesting?
Or 2 more besides that one,
Okay, so 2 more.
and make sure, you know, like does cover the same services, you know, icing or how many inches before some people over like under 2 inches won't come out, or is that something that they have in their contract already?
They charge one amount for plowing 1 to 5.9 inches. They charge a different amount for plowing 6 to 12 inches. They do ice control in the parking lot. They shovel 1 to 3.9 inches. They shovel 4 to 12 inches, and they do ice control on the sidewalks also.
So that's what you would just have to tell the other 2 people.
Awesome, if you don't mind sending us a copy of that, and then if you can just get 2 more quotes for the October meeting, so that way we can just confirm we are
Hopefully it
good
won't
to
snow
go
by then.
for.
Well, that's why I wanted to renew it now with the existing company we had, but,
What is our contract end with them?
say again?
Do we have like a contract with them?
The contract would start November 22nd and it would end the 23rd, so.
November 22nd, okay, so
So they
we're
wouldn't,
we're
if we
good.
got snow in October, they wouldn't be on contract yet.
If we got snow in October, they wouldn't be, but you said they expire in November.
No, I said the contract starts November 15 through April 15, so the contract wouldn't start in October anyway.
Oh, I got you.
If we got snow in October, I'm moving.
We did a few
It
years
happened
ago,
one
like
time.
I was trick-or-treating in it.
Yeah, Halloween.
Yes. I
Okay,
remember.
before we adjourn, I'd like to announce that Layton has dedicated 10 years to this library, and so we are awarding you the certificate of appreciation. So Layton, yay! And also Shannon Jordan for 5 years of dedication to the library. So I have signed off.
Who is that?
Shannon.
Oh, that's the one that's going to school, right?
Oh, the one we were
Yeah.
here at college.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Okay, so that is that. Congratulations. I will give this to you. you, much appreciated. I will leave this for you if you don't mind sharing that with Shannon.
Did you do the certificate?
No,
Joanne did.
So thank you, Joanne, for doing that. Reminder, so for the October meeting is October 26th, if I'm not mistaken. I am not reachable, like literally not reachable. I'm on a cruise. I do not have service. October 14th through the 20th. So you cannot email me.
Are you taking the kids?
I am. We're doing a Disney cruise.
Oh.
So it'll be.
They have babysitters there and stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's what I
Oh,
thought.
I looked into that.
Why
Okay.
else-
So,
I just envision the babysitters being like in Transylvania 3.
oh my God. So October 14th through the 20th, I do not have service. Do not, or just don't get mad if I don't reply. So just that, I mean, I still have a week. Usually a lot of our emails go out the week before, so I'll be here in time for that. But just a heads up, copy late and go.
Oh, good time.
Yeah,
Yes,
enjoy.
Thank you.
And if you wouldn't mind, as a fellow mom of young ones, let me know how it is.
I've heard good reviews. Okay, any questions, comments, anything else before we adjourn? Reminder, if you want to add anything to future meetings, please email me or Layton. We're happy to add and discuss. And that's it.
Mostly we should email it, not you, you're not gonna be here.
Well, for the 1 week, I'm not here, but I'm still here the week before the meeting. It'll be fine.
Rosa, I want to see your lipstick that matches your outfit again. How many lipsticks do you have?
All pinks. and
See?
purples.
No,
Okay.
send me a purple one. Purple.
All right, so adjournment is 10:07 p.m. Thank you guys for staying late. Have a lovely day, night.
All right.
This one.